8 Lincoln 30 to dispatch.
8030, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakatomi Plaza. Everything here's okay. Over. But nobody has no place to go. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, God, 17 is a Welcome to the party, pal.
Hey guys, Farrell Miller here, out in Picton, opening Erbn Green's second location. Thank you so much for coming tonight. This was an idea that I had after reflecting on how rough this year has been for myself as well as all of you. And I really felt like there should be an opportunity for all of us to get together in spite of the lack of social events this year. We can bring one to you virtually. So I reached out to my good friends at Alan Aldous, as well as Jessica Nudo, and together we've put on a great show for all of you to enjoy tonight. So thank you again for registering and showing up, and let's have some fun.
Hey, it's Lena. I'm here on behalf of Alan Aldous. The whole team has been involved in this from the start. As soon as Farrell brought this idea up, we got right on board. And it's a pleasure to bring a charity like Lifeline Canada into the mix because, I mean, that's just the year that we've had. It's really awful to say, but suicide prevention is very top of mind right now. So it's been a pleasure to bring a program together that is full of fun and merriment, and God knows it's the only thing we can really get together at right now. But to do it in the name of a good cause that needs our support right now, it makes it all the more special.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess Nudo. It's been a pleasure to work with Farrell and the Alan Aldous team. We were really excited to put this together. It was like a super last minute thing, but my gosh, if we could work together so well on something within like 2 weeks to put this production together, I think it's pretty safe to say that we can make magic happen on other projects. So stay tuned. But that said, be sure to check out all of the talks tonight and all of the segments. We have some really interesting content coming up. There's going to be a piece on sustainability and sustainable brands in the cannabis space. As we know, 2020 has generated a lot of garbage, and it would be great to see more companies adopt sustainable practices and eco-conscious methods within their businesses. Also, we're going to be having some awesome giveaways. Well, actually, rather, not really giveaways, door prizes. So I guess that kind of constitutes as a giveaway. You see where I'm going with this. But anyway, we have that, and we have a silent auction that you can also participate in. We've also got a lot of laughs, so be prepared for that. Lots of comedy and quite a heavy helping of nostalgia. So definitely bring on some holiday cheer. Feel free to tweet us, share the good news on the internet. And it's never too late to donate to Lifeline. We really, really, really appreciate your support with this. Enjoy the show.
Hi everybody, Claire from Mihi Cannabis here. Hi friends, today we are going to build a cannabis infused beverage, and I call it the Holiday Yule Mule. Let's get right to it. First thing you want to do, get some mint, get those oils released. Rub around the top of your glass, get some of that essence on the top of the glass, put it in. Get a couple of lime wedges, put it in. get something to squish it with. Next, we're going to build it with some ice. Next, we're going to get our cannabis-infused beverage. Today, we're using Quattro Ginger and Lime. It has THC and CBD, 2 milligrams THC, 2 milligrams CBD, balanced beverage. I would say you fill up the glass about 3/4 of the way. Next, we're going to get Tweed Houndstooth and Soda. It is a sativa beverage. Just a little topper. Give it a little stir. And of course, you have to make it visually appealing. So what are we going to do? We're going to garnish it next. I would get a sprig of mint, pop that in there. Get a nice lime wheel, pop it in. There we go. Enjoy. Hi friends, back again. We're gonna make another beverage. We are gonna be making the festive spritz today. Featured cannabis-infused beverage is Little Victory. It's a sparkling blood orange. Balanced beverage, 2.5 milligrams THC, 2.5 milligrams CBD. If you're a new user, start low and go slow. Stick to one beverage. But if you're an experienced user like I am, you can have a few at home and not have a hangover. So let's get started. First thing you want to do, get some basil. Release those oils. I like rimming the glass with a few basil leaves so that with each sip you're getting a little nice herbal kick. Put that in there. What you can also do, get an orange peel, twist it, release some of that oil. Put that in there as well. Why not have an extra orange peel? Next thing you do, build with ice. Next, add your beverage. And you know what we're totally forgetting? Gotta add a splash of soda. Back to the Tweed Houndstooth soda. Put a splash of that in. Give it a whirl. And you know me, I'm a bit extra. Gotta add that garnish. Happy holidays, everybody. Enjoy.
Hi, Chris here from Mihi Cannabis, giving you my top picks to beat the winter blues. First off, I'd like to start with a really nice hybrid. We have the Masuku White Wedding. Comes in very high THC normally. Hits very much like a hybrid. Starts you off nice and cerebral and then eases you down nice and gently. A great strain for watching Netflix or enjoying a dinner party. My next top pick, I'm going with Franco's Lemon Cheese from 48 North. This strain is far and away one of my favorite sativa strains. Very uplifting, very energizing. You'll find that about halfway through your first smoke, a smile's gonna creep up on your face and you're not gonna even know why or really care. Great for dancing, great for karaoke, a great fun party strain. Next, I'm gonna go with the Johnny Chronic Cherry Bomb. Excellent terpene profiles, great bud quality, high THC percentage, usually comes in over 20%. Can't speak enough to this strain. Love it. The flavors on the exhale, a lot of berry, a lot of cherry, really tasty strain. After that, I'm going with the hash from 48 North. This hash is some of the best hash I've ever had. I've had that Afghani red seal, all that stuff from back in the 80s and 90s, and this is far and away a far superior product to any of that. Nice and soft and malleable and delicious. Add it to any joint to kick it up a notch, as they say. And then finally, I'm going with the Greybeard Afghani Drifter pre-rolls. Greybeard, excellent products. They use the top colas. You get that excellent flavor profile, very terpy, rich in pinene and limonene. It's a great end of the day strain for when you just want to relax, and it's my pick for Netflix and chill. So there you have it. These are my top picks to beat the winter blues. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us here at Mihi Cannabis. My name is Lindsay, I'm a guide here, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Toki. I love this. This is an excellent gift if you're thinking about someone for Christmas. And I love the Soleil 510 cartridges for these. They have an amazing taste and aroma. They have the CBD and the THC, so it's a great combination. And I love that it has the 3 heat settings on the Toki, so you can really dial in on which terpenes you want to activate. So amazing Christmas gift, and come on in and we'll show you all about it. And here we have the Dosist. This is one of my favorites. I find with vaping, it is so smooth and enjoyable that sometimes I get a little overzealous. I love my Toki, but I find it can be a little bit much and you don't really know until it's too late. So for me, I like that this one controls how much you get. After about 3 seconds, it will vibrate to let you know that it is done and you can exhale. I like that you get exactly 2.5 milligrams in each and every toke, and you get 200 tokes in every pod for the reusable. With the disposable, you do get 100, and personally, I like reusable. Go for the environment. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Krista. I head up product and marketing here at Mihi. Today we're going to talk about trends that we're seeing during this pandemic within the cannabis retail space. One of the things we are seeing is that people are coming in and stocking up. Here at Mihi Stony Creek, we're right next to a Costco. So the idea of limiting your interactions, go into Costco, stock up, come by at Mihi and stock up on some of your favorites. We are seeing the large format start selling a lot more. Typically your favorite strains come in the 3.5 gram, but a lot of the producers out there are starting to come up with larger sizes. 7 gram, it's a more affordable option. It's more money, it's more product for your money to be getting the 7 grams. Aside from the 7 grams, cannabis flower also comes in 15 grams and 28 gram bags. We're seeing a lot of people come in and stock up on the 28 gram bag. And what are they doing with this cannabis? Yes, they are taking it and rolling it for a Friday night session, but they're also using the cannabis for other areas. They're creating their own edibles. They're infusing meals. So in our new world of socially distancing, gone are the days where you sit around with your friends or anyone else who doesn't live inside your household and share a joint. We're seeing a big trend with the smaller joints being sold. A great option is the Ready Can Readies. 10 joints and a 0.35 gram. It's great for single use. At Mihi, one of our core values is to support the local community. And it's wonderful to see during this pandemic how many of our consumers and neighbors are doing the same. We've taken that approach to accessories. At Mihi, you're going to find many accessories that you will not find anywhere else. And I'm going to walk you through some of our partners today. These porcelain pipes were made in Quebec by a woman named Edith. Edith is a mother of 3 who made her own pottery and dishes. And she found a hole in the cannabis community for making feminine smoking devices. So here's a porcelain one-hitter, which comes in a reusable tube that was made by Edith. Another one of my favorite finds is over here in this showcase. I'll walk you around. This is Gemma. Gemma is 88 years old and collects vintage smoking pieces. So you'll see a couple of her treasures that we sell at our Mihi stores, including this rolling tray, which I believe is from the 1930s, and a 1920s lighter.
Welcome to Mihi. My name is Ivana and I'm the assistant manager over at Mihi Burlington. Come follow me on a tour through the store. So over here we have our workshop table. We do host various workshops, including topical workshops, and we're set up right here for our drink DIY. If you follow me over to the next wall, you can see that we have all of the terpenes for you to take a look at. Every single cannabis plant has its own unique terpenes that affects your own experience. My favorite terpene is limonene. It has a strong citrus odor and a bitter taste. It's found in strains such as DT81 and Pedro Sweet Sativa. If you follow me over to the next wall here, this is a graphic that shows how your body interacts with cannabis and the endocannabinoids. If you take a look around our store, you'll notice we have 4 zones: relieve, energize, uplift, and zen. All of them are geared towards a specific experience that you want to have. For example, I'm standing in energize, so if I want to be productive one day, I would go for strains that normally rest in here.
Say that again.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tijan Yelchin.
And my name is Ashley.
We are co-founders at Earth Kisses Sky. We are so proud to be Canadian entrepreneurs who are loved by their community. And I just wanted to say that we mutually feel the same. We love each and every one of you. EKS is one of Canada's most innovative healthcare brands. We both have a training in health sciences and have developed these premium topical products. I'm not going to take too much of your time. We're going to spend maybe less than 10 minutes, but what we want to do is show you how to make your own cannabis oil. So with that oil, you can infuse and make your own topicals. Why that's so important is that you can dose and create your own topical to your specific needs. And also we're going to show you what to do with that leftover oil. You can infuse your own food, or how about make your own little holiday treat or snack that Ashley's going to be showing you later on.
Shawty super cold, pull up in the snow, had a cover, cause she ain't know.
Ho, ho, ho.
The first thing we need to do is decarboxylate our cannabis. You simply heat up the oven to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Lay parchment paper on a pan, break up the flour and spread. Place the pan in the oven for about 45 minutes, remove, and let it cool. Next, take your decarboxylated cannabis. In this recipe, I used 15 grams. Next, use a double boiler. Add a few inches of water onto the bottom pot and measure out 2 cups of olive oil for the pot on top. In this recipe, I used extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. Next, stir in 15 grams of decarboxylated cannabis flour and keep it simmering around 160 degrees Fahrenheit for about 3 hours. Use a cooking thermometer to ensure it stays under 200 Fahrenheit. And remember, in this recipe, I'm using 2 cups of olive oil for 15 grams of flour. You then strain the oil through a cheesecloth. Note on dosing. Be aware of what the THC percentage is of the cannabis purchased. For example, 1 gram of cannabis is 1,000 milligrams of weight. If the cannabis strain you have chosen has 10% of THC, like the one we used in this recipe, that is 1,500 milligrams of THC in the 2 cups of oil and the 15 grams of cannabis that we used. It's important to know that it's better to dose low than to dose high. And that's it. You can use it right away to infuse your topicals, bake, or whatever you want. Store it in a dark jar in a cool, dark place. To infuse your topical, you simply choose your cream. You choose your legal cannabis oil, whether you purchase it from a retail store or it's the one you just created. And then you dose accordingly to your specific needs. Lastly, you mix. Cannabis topicals are non-psychoactive. They are a versatile way for you to take advantage of those cannabinoids. I hope you enjoyed.
So now that you know how to make your own cannabis oil, I'm going to show you a different way that you can actually use it. Today we're going to be making an infused avocado pudding.
This recipe is so delicious. I cannot wait for you to try it. For this recipe, I'm going to be using my Vitamix blender. Simply add approximately 1 heaping cup of raw cacao powder. You're going to add approximately 5 to 6 pitted dates, 2 whole avocados, and if you don't want to use avocado, you can also use cashews. But for the sake of making this creamy, let's use avocado. 1 teaspoon of fresh cinnamon, a perfect ingredient for the holidays. Approximately half a cup of fresh coconut water. This is going to help make your avocado pudding nice and creamy, nice and smooth, and at the same time adding a delicious source of hydration. 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. Now we're going to be adding our cannabis oil. Just remember that everyone responds differently, so start low and go slow. Blend this up until it's completely smooth. It's going to look like the perfect chocolate mousse pudding. You may have to scrape down the sides, but after this, all you have to do is serve it up in your favorite parfait glass of choice, top it with some delicious fruit, or in this case, candy canes, ready for the holiday. This is an easy, delicious chocolate avocado pudding. How incredible and creamy does this look? I cannot wait for you guys to try this. It is so delicious.
This pudding. Caught that on camera. She's actually finished her pudding. I'm just getting started. This is by far, you've outdone yourself. I mean, this is so good.
Thank you.
Please try this recipe. Now you know how to make your own oil. Infuse your topicals, infuse your recipes. Tag us on social media, Earth Kisses Sky. Our website is justthatoil.ca. And stay tuned for some exciting announcements for 2021. You won't want to miss what we have in store for you.
Love you.
Love you guys. Happy holidays.
Hey everybody, happy holidays from me and Shatterizer and Honey. We just want to wish you all the most perfect clouds right through 2020 and into 2021. Oh my gosh, you know how much me and Matt just love to party and we love to celebrate every day. Thank you for putting this together. You've done such a tremendous job in bringing the community together for such an important cause like the Lifeline. Thank you so, so much. We have 3 prizes that we'd like to bring to the table for this wonderful, wonderful community event. Prize number 1. Prize number 2. Number 3. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. It's so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to see you. Merry Christmas. We're so excited that this is going on this evening, and we are so looking forward to making a splash into 2021. Thank you so much for welcoming us to this event and into your homes. We're so thankful for everyone in our Shatterizer family. We really, really see nothing but perfect clouds on the horizon into 2021. Have a great holidays, everyone. Thank you. Hey, honey. Yeah. Perfect clouds into 2021. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, giveaways. Uh-oh. Well, anyway, we're really excited and we look forward to 2021. Big things from Shatterizer, big things from Val and Matt. It's sad that we can't hang out in real life because obviously that's where we were used to hanging out and seeing you at all the conferences. But hopefully in 2021.
We're so thankful for all the people that we've gotten to meet in person, and now being able to do this online and digitally is just great. I mean, we'd love to see everyone, connect through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email us, val@shatterizer.com. I mean, happy holidays, everybody. We miss seeing you in person, but it's great to see you online.
Hi everyone, it's Annie Cannabis, as some of you might know me from the internet. I'm back in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and my lovely friends at Alan Aldous and Jess Nudo and Rook, asked if I would do a little update on what's been happening in Prince Edward Island at the PEI Cannabis store, and kind of just a catch up on where we're at over here. So, I haven't been in front of my camera in a little while, and to be honest with you, I'm nervous. So I did roll a little joint of some black cherry punch from Mediwana, and I thought that could lead me into my first talking point. So I'm jealous. Being in PEI, I deal with a lot of cannabis jealousy, I guess we can call it. I'm jealous of y'all and your access to quality cannabis. It doesn't seem like I'm gonna have the same access here in Prince Edward Island as my friends in especially Toronto, but even Nova Scotia. So due to a bylaw that is coming into place in Charlottetown, or in Prince Edward Island, in March of 2021, which prohibits flavored nicotine vaporizers, we're not allowed to have cannabis vapes in PEI. So because they saw this bylaw coming down the pipe, pun fully intended, they were like, sorry y'all, you can't have cannabis vapes because like that's like a flavored vape or whatever, so you can't have it. So not only am I without pods for my Pax Era, I can't buy any 510 cartridges at all, but also, y'all, the concentrate selection here, it's not cute. It's not cute at all. Like, I understand that we might not have the same market size as Ontario, even Nova Scotia, but like concentrates in PEI, we gotta step it up. Like, we gotta step it up. I'm gonna leave it at that. The selection is null. They're like very limited. The selection is very limited. I think there is one dabbable concentrate at the moment, and I've bought it, and I've repeat bought it because I don't have a lot of selection here. It's hard to get concentrates. So access is limited. It's super convenient to have the PEI Cannabis store. We have one in downtown Charlottetown, or kind of like in midtown Charlottetown, we'll say. And I go regularly, like I know the staff, they know me. And I've repeat purchased this flower rosin. I'm not gonna like name drop the products I don't like. I will name drop the products I do. Like this black cherry punch from Mediwana that I can't get in PEI that I'm cherishing, but I can't get good concentrates, so that's kind of where it's at. We also have a limited selection of beverages. I don't drink alcohol, so I'm a big fan of the cannabis bev. I know that's a little bit of a conflicting opinion, but controversial opinion, if you will. But I do appreciate them. We don't have the Quattro here, so, or at least not the last time I went. I will have to double check on that one though, because that was one I was really looking forward to trying. But yeah, the bottom line is the access is still limited. The curation of the products I'm not obsessed with. I really wish I could go to Erbn Green. Like, I really wish I could go to a private retailer like Mihi, or, you know, let me choose who I want to support and like go in and have like a little bit more of a personable experience. Because right now it's just, that's not what it is. So I don't love that. But the convenience is, it can't be beat. It can't be beat. So for the time being, I'm going to keep counting on friends in other provinces to help supplement my poor access to quality here. And I'm gonna just leave you with a dab of some illicit market hash rosin that I get mailed to me from Ontario. So cheers, my friends. I wish we were outside of Lyft or O Cannabis or another conference smoking weed together. Until then, I guess. Cheers, y'all. Happy holidays.
Hey guys, we're live in Prince Edward, not Island, but thanks for the lead in, Annie. We're in Prince Edward County here in Picton, Ontario at Erbn Green.
Woohoo!
Alex Krause and my partner, Farrah Miller here.
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.
So, Annie, we're really sad to hear that the selection is not living up to par of what you're used to, but we really do hope that you can come when COVID's calmed down a little bit to come check out the store. Normal Canada, we just want to do a quick shout out to all of our friends who work really hard there, and we definitely want to see, the same selection across Canada so people like Annie can get access to the same products that we have in our dank bank back here, which we'll get to in a second. But first, let's remind all the people watching at home that we have an online auction, a silent auction for you. Go to http://galabid.com and you'll find a link to it. If you go to us on Twitter, you'll see that we've each put a call to action for the auction. Goes straight to the auction. Everything goes to Lifeline Canada, as we mentioned already. It's a really good cause that supports suicide. Lastly, as you heard from Val, we do have 2 Shatterizers up for grabs on the auction, and 1 is going to go to a lucky winner later this evening. So be sure to go to the auction. It all goes to a good cause, and right now it's at half price. I'm going to check the live auction. We are at, next minimum bid is for $50 for the Shatterizer, valued at $80. So great option. Farrell is going to do a quick little bit right here with her dank bank.
Yes, guys. So for our first prize of the night, we have 1 Shatterizer prize pack to give away, generously donated by Val. And we also have a
Mihi prize pack for $500.
That's what you're highlighting on the auction. So to give away for the prizes tonight for this little bit that we're doing right now, we have a few little gift baggies. Alex, if you'll show me. as well as a Shatterizer gift bag, very generously donated by Val. So I'll start off with the first prize. There is a little mystery grab bag, I guess, featuring at least one pipe from Erbn Green, a surprise style. And in order to win that first prize, I'm going to have everybody play a game of The Price is Right. So if you know the price of this first item, drop it in the chat. Does anybody know the price of Soleil Free? If you know, drop it in the chat.
Don't go over.
And the second one we have to give away, there's something sneaking at the top there, is for the next box. Metafarm Labs. If you guys know the price for this object and you want to put it in the chat, if you're on par, you might win a prize. And the third one that we have, Sundial 20:1 CBD. If you know the price of that product, please drop it in the chat.
So don't forget, throughout the entire show, we do have a bunch of auction items, the biggest one being the Mihi surprise gift. It's valued at $500. It's a great gift for the holidays. Go check it out. We do have some drinkables as well, you know, that Annie mentioned them. So we really do appreciate that we can learn how to do our little cocktails like we just saw on the Mihi segment. So appreciate that, guys. We do have 2 more Shatterizers up for grabs and a live draw. So please, let's keep the excitement going, and we look forward to the rest of the show.
Thanks so much for coming, guys. Enjoy.
Let's face it, events are meant to connect people, but virtual events tend to fall short because watching an event is one thing, but watching with friends is so much better. Mindsu lets you talk amongst yourselves, meet with the sponsors face to face, and make real connections. Just click on the networking tab below and discover what makes Mindsu different. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you'd like to host your own event, visit us at mindsu.ca.
Listen, Kev, what are you so worried about? You know Mom's gonna pack your stuff anyway. You're what the French call les incompetents. What?
Hey CannaFam, it's Jessica Nudo here from Cannabis is the New Kale. And I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about my brand and what got me started on this path. So Cannabis is the New Kale was born from a desire to offer something like a more sustainable option in terms of cannabis merch. The other item that was really important was for it to be produced here in Canada. So I work with all local businesses based in and around Toronto, and I've just put together this initial capsule collection that's been doing pretty well. I have a Shopify site, and it's been really exciting to see this grow over the last few months. And yeah, so I'd like to show you a few of the pieces today. To start, we have Ceci n'est pas une pipe, which is a nod to The Treachery of Images by René Magritte, for any of you modern art aficionados out there. And then we have the logo design, Cannabis is the New Kale. Get a close-up of that font. And the market tote, which is super, I absolutely love this tote. I bring it with me to the market every weekend. I've probably used it every week, sometimes multiple times a week. And it's been great. Like, it holds up, it doesn't rip, it's withstood like bottles of wine, cartons of oat milk, orange juice, sometimes all in the same run. So yeah, it's been tried, tested, and true. That said, the reason for the brand really stems from my love for the environment. It's something that I've always felt, was like being drawn to nature and, you know, just like respecting the planet and loving animals and, you know, of all sorts, even if I hate spiders. I mean, those are insects, but still, you know, all God's creatures. So that said, I really think that there was a need to make a more sustainable option in the cannabis space. Many of us are aware of how unsustainable the industry can be and how important it is to mitigate that, especially now post-pandemic. We're seeing so much garbage being produced after the pandemic globally, you know? So that's a problem. The other thing is, before the pandemic, we were all going to conferences, we were collecting all sorts of merch and swag and all sorts of stuff, and that all ends up in a landfill. I mean, we've seen numerous companies, you know, like rise and then fall again. And then, you know, when they fall and, you know, like do something embarrassing, you don't really want to wear their shirt. You don't want to advertise that brand. So, you know, yes, you're advertising a brand in a sense, but it's a brand that has a concern, a love and a respect for the environment. And if you want to show your love for weed, support a local Canadian company that's supporting other Canadian companies, that's using textiles that are either like locally sourced or produced here in Canada. So yeah, I would like to sit down and tell you a little bit more. I'm gonna bring in my friend JP. We're gonna further break down the current status of sustainability in cannabis and how we can do better collectively to see things rise. From cannabis being the new kale to sustainability, I'm joined here with JP of Green Cannabis Co. and Brad from Boomer. Welcome to the sustainability segment, guys. Thanks so much for joining in. Please tell me about yourselves and your companies. We'll start with you, JP.
Hey guys, thanks for doing this, Jess. We're really excited to be a part of it, and I think this is an amazing opportunity to talk about ourselves, talk about the industry, and just kind of get to know each other over the holidays. So, a bit about me. So I started the Green Cannabis Co. about a year ago. We've had an amazing year. Aside from COVID, obviously, and the restrictions around it, but in the last year, we've been able to grow to 40 retail stores. We've launched 5 new products along with our initial line, and we're in works to create a whole bunch of new ones come spring and summer of next year that we are actively working on now. And, a bit about our company. We're a Canadian company. We take a lot of pride that all of our stuff is made here in Canada. It is all made by hand. Our entire collection is made by hand. And it is all plastic free. So our collection itself, all the products themselves, as well as the packaging, is all plastic free. We also are inspired by nature, and I think that comes through in a lot of our design. The aesthetic of our pieces, they're either molded from natural elements themselves, like a piece of birch or a piece of maple bark as an example, or they use natural sustainable elements in the collection. So we've kind of done things a bit differently than the normal accessories brands in the space, and we're excited about the opportunity we're carving out for ourselves, and what this could mean for the future of the cannabis industry and kind of industry as a whole, really, and thinking about it holistically.
Awesome. And then we have Brad from Boomer, who's more on the packaging side of things. So this is a really good match of the three of us doing this today, I think. Brad, tell us a little bit about yourself and Boomer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me here, Jess. And, I agree with you. It's an absolute great match to have us all here. So Boomer started about 3 years ago because I noticed nobody was doing what I wanted to set out to do, was environmentally friendly packaging, and not with the word greenwash kind of, but in the whole sense, from manufacturing, logistics, to the actual package itself. We want to work with companies that are in the cannabis space that really care about when it comes to packaging, customer consciousness, and also any kind of environmental action a company wants to take towards their packaging initiative. We want to work with those people to help show them how we can actually connect the environmental standards of packaging in Canada coming in 2021 and the cannabis market, and show how it can be an environmentally friendly program.
Excellent. So I've actually got a couple of questions for you both. We'll go back into where the cannabis industry is currently. We've seen a lot of single-use plastics, and the whole conference circuit has been an issue of its own. There's a lot of really talented thoughtful brands out there, such as Green Cannabis Co, for example, where you're using very thoughtful methodologies and systems, and you've just recently released the corn cob, which is, from to my understanding, it's completely biodegradable. So that's really, really cool. So what are some of the things about the cannabis industry that you think brands like yours or mine, Cannabis is the New Kale, could do to inspire a more I can't really say global, but even just a national change, at least on the Canadian market? How can we get it there?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that keeps us up every night, really thinking about the how to answer that question. But I think I think the first thing you got to do as a brand is just be brave, and don't rest on the laurels of what everybody else is doing, because that's not how things progress. That's not how things change. I remember there was this Henry Ford quote where he said, if we would have asked people what they wanted, they would have just said faster horses. And I think that's a really good way to think of building a business, is if you just wait for people to tell you what they want, you're never going to be at the front of the pack. And I think, as brands, you got to be brave, and you got to do things differently, and you got to see where opportunities are, where people are not playing, and that's where you need to do. I mean, that classic, when people are zigging, you zag kind of mentality. And I think, part of that is making brave choices and making hard choices too along the way. As I look at our company and our brand, it is a lot easier to manufacture in China. It's way easier. It's way cheaper. There's a huge convenience factor to doing it, and I understand why companies do it. But I am a big fan of a circular economy. I love supporting Canadian talent. I love supporting Canadian manufacturing. I love supporting Canadians in general, and our economy as a whole in general. And with challenges come opportunity. And I think as the industry continues to evolve, we are going to see more and more companies doing some of those challenging things, and we're going to continue to see more and more change in the industry. So I think I think change is around, but don't wait for anybody to do it. You got to kind of do it yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's really about what matters to you and what your guiding principles are. I grew up watching National Geographic with my father, and it was a very interesting thing for us to do together, and just really learn about what's happening in international countries, and what the Amazon rainforest is like, and what kind of animals live there, and just the understanding of how important it is to respect the planet and nature, and just seeing how things have progressed throughout, well, not really progressed, but how everything is just gone during the pandemic, how much more waste has been produced in the last year alone. It's important now more than ever to be able to take these things into consideration and create less waste. So speaking of which, as we know, in the cannabis space, packaging has been a real issue. It's a huge waste creator. You have tiny bits of cannabis that are in these massive jars, and has a lot to do with regulations and compliance. But on the packaging side, Brad, what are some of the projects or interesting things that you've done with clients that you could share with us today on the more eco-conscious side?
Well, it's an interesting question, and thanks for asking it, because just yesterday I was having a conversation with a new customer that I approached, and they're using a jar with a plastic lid, and it's a great application having a glass jar and a plastic lid, but that plastic lid holds more plastic in it than actually what a bag would be for their cannabis packaging. So we're having discussions about changing people outside of the jars, changing them into bags. Yes, bags are still plastic, but you can fit about 3,000 bags in a box instead of 3,000 jars on a skid. So when it does come to logistics of shipping the bags and using specific logistic chains that have carbon offset programs in place in accordance with what we also have in place, it's starting to work, and people are starting to see the ability to be more environmentally conscious and also to save money for the operations side of it. It just is starting to make sense. The regulation is something else that we need to work with as well, and having a little less regulation around the packaging and the labeling, not to say mimic alcohol, but take an example from the LCBO and the beer store, seeing how they are using a glass bottle, non-child lockable, their marketing laws. Once those get a little bit more lenient, we can get a lot more environmentally friendly and a lot more trust within the companies and building brands. And exactly what JP said, he hit the nail on the head when he said companies need to be brave and do this. We're having companies switch complete logistic chains and suppliers because they want to be brave and approach something that is more environmentally friendly for the consumers and the customer at the end of the day. So he said it absolutely amazing, and I can agree with it.
Awesome. So from more of a consumer side, the three of us being entrepreneurs, working daily to, like change the way things are done. I would say like industry wide in our own way, in our own elements. But as consumers, we have a certain amount of buying power, and our dollars speak politically. They speak, with our ethos. And I think that there's something to be said, especially this year, about consumers taking their power back and reminding companies just how important it is to take sustainability into consideration. So a recent survey done this year by IBM revealed that 6 out of 10 consumers are willing to change their shopping habits to reduce environmental stress. As sustainability moves up the shopping consideration list, the portion of the market driven by convenience and ease will represent a big opportunity for brands and retailers that can offer credible and convenient sustainable choices. So wondering what your thoughts are on that, and if you are someone who makes daily choices based on that, maybe spending a little bit more to purchase something that's of a higher caliber of quality, and knowing that that you're supporting a company that shares your same values.
Absolutely, I
You wanna
can
go for
jump in
it?
here. Yeah, no problem. So, the biggest thing that I'm noticing right now is I only want to work with companies that are looking to do something environmentally friendly with their packaging or with their company's brand. Um, there's many companies out there that can service the jar, can service a bag, but the difference that I can see and agree with IBM is that we just went through a packaging exercise with the brand a lot, and we created the 3-pack pre-roll, and it's the first flight of cannabis with that company. And we did a lot of market study at the end of it, and people were praising that we did not use plastic inside of that packaging. And working with that company day in and day out, the number one focus was always environmentally friendly. How are we getting it here environmentally friendly? And how is this going to be packaged and shipped out environmentally friendly? And, they hit a lot of the points on the head with that packaging. And a lot of the consumers and customers had seen that and reported that back to us. So when we saw the proof in the pudding afterwards, it was something that we wanted to take and drive further. So really, I can see the validity with the IBM study because it's already starting to happen with customers, and we're starting a customer base that is strictly environmentally friendly companies that we want to work with. It's an interesting approach, but it's working well, and especially in Canada because it is on a federally legal level as well. So it's I'm hoping it's going to come full circle, but there's lots more to work at.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts, GP?
Yeah, I totally agree, Brad. I think from a personal standpoint, there's sort of two parts of my personal experience. One is obviously the business side of me, the Green Cannabis Co side of me, where we make really tough ecological choices. We prototype, as an example, we prototype a bunch of products that we hope to release in the throughout our existence, even in our first year. And as we get into manufacturing, we find there isn't a way to produce this thing environmentally. So, I think, again, having a strong stance, having a really clear belief in what you are as a brand, and then living that day by day, when you have this strong ethos, your decisions are almost made for you. You can't stray away from them, and we have been very conscious of that and very supportive of it. We don't fight that when it happens, and if we have to abandon a piece that we love because we can't get it manufactured the right way, then you know what, that's what it's going to be, and that's what this brand is about, and that's what the Green Cannabis Co is going to stand for. On my own personal level, I absolutely support eco brands at every chance I get. I think, from the materials that a company uses to, where things are sourced to how things are shipped. I think all of those points, and I think Brad touched on it as well. It goes. There's so much in a product that as consumers we don't really consider. Like even just it being shipped from a warehouse to your house, there are better ways to do that, and there are ways where there's carbon offsetting you can get for deliveries as well, which is something we offer at the Green Cannabis Co. So buying with confidence, and I think what I would recommend to consumers in the industry, in the cannabis industry or outside of it, is to just do their research. I think a trend, some of the data that IBM has put out, it's incredibly powerful, and I think brands are going to see that and try to jump at that, and ultimately what they'll end up doing is greenwashing. They'll say they're sustainable, or they'll say they're eco-friendly, but it's up to us as consumers to really do our research and make sure that we are buying the right way, because it's cliche to say, but every time we purchase anything, we are casting a vote, and those votes matter. Every single one of them do, and I just urge you guys to do the research and really know what you're buying and who you're buying it from and where it's coming from, and make those conscious choices, because they're important.
Yep, you've touched on a really important part there. Transparency, striving for transparency. We're seeing more and more companies that are coming out with like actual memos on their websites or on social media. They're incorporating this into their like communication strategies to show that they're they're transparent when it comes to their supply chain. I recently read a report on what was it, farm to fit or something like that. It had to do with harvesting cotton, and what that process looks like. Oh, it's farm to closet traceability. So Stella McCartney is doing something with Google Cloud to collaborate on that, which is really fascinating to think about it. Because like when it comes to textiles, that like there's so much horrible stuff that happens on the fashion side, that it's nice to be able to see that there is more work being done on that front. So speaking of transparency, there were some points that I wanted to bring up with you that we have discussed previously, not today, but previously, based on a recent report projection for a post-COVID-19 world. There were some main takeaways. Strive for transparency was one of them. Creating circular systems, working together to create change, so collaboration, and investing in sustainable packaging. So that is, it's all very sound with what we're talking about today. I think that the three of us have a very direct, like linear approach to the way that we want to get things done. I mean, well, linear is maybe a little bit of a stretch because there are so many hurdles that come with doing anything as an entrepreneur, which I'm sure we can all respect. But as far as that's concerned, I wanted to maybe just get a little bit of a final takeaway from you both about what you see for 2021 or hopes for a greener future in cannabis and how we can be more sustainable collectively.
Yeah, I think that's a great it's a great point. I think those four points that you touched on are absolutely true. I mean, of our space, of our industry, but again, of industry as a whole. Transparency is becoming increasingly more important. I think the more we as consumers, we're so connected to everything, we're so informed, we're more informed than any generation before us, and we know everything about every company we ever buy, or we can know if we choose to. So the choices these companies make from a environmental standpoint, their political views, their opinion on quality, we know where these companies stand, and I think it's important. I think as a consumer, you want to align yourself with similar brands and similar values that you value, and I think that's an important part of it. And being transparent is now it's not a choice anymore for companies. They have to be transparent, and I hope they're making the right choices. I know that the three of us are, and I hope that people can connect with us on that. But it's time for a lot of these companies to kind of make good on what they're doing. And as it comes to environmentalism and the future of the cannabis space, I mean, I'm super optimistic about it. I think again, personally, from an accessory standpoint, as stigmas fall, as normalization continues to happen, and as cannabis is entering more homes and new homes, I think there's so much opportunity for a brand like ours to grow and to fill that eco-friendly space where you can connect with the environment even while you're inside, even while you're enjoying cannabis. And I think that's something that we're really excited about. I think it's the growth of the space is going to be amazing, and I think the design and aesthetic is going to continue to lift. I think all those familiar trappings of accessories of the past that used to tuck into a drawer and hide because you didn't want anybody to see it. I think those days are numbered and they're on their way out. And instead, it's going to be kind of how we treat alcohol, where there's a bar card and your friends come over and they can see it, and it's out on display. And I think that's where the cannabis industry is going to go, and I think the accessories industry is going to go. And I think we're super excited about that possibility and the reality of that, because I think we're particularly fortunate. We make really nice looking things. That's a very biased opinion, but I think our stuff is made to display. It's meant to be out on a bookshelf or on a coffee table, and we look forward to seeing the space grow further, and along with it, educating people on sort of the right choices they can make within the space as well.
Awesome. It's funny. I've
That's
actually
well
got
said.
your jar right here of Palo Santo.
Nice.
Looks great on the coffee
Amazing.
table.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Brad, did you have any thoughts on a hope future in cannabis?
Yeah, it's I'm actually going to use JP's company as an example. Yesterday, somebody said to me, we're doing a full design for a dispensary owner right now, and he said to me, how do I make my store different? Our mantra is local. How do I make my store different from everybody else? What do I want? What do I carry in it? And I said, transparency is key, and that's what you're doing with being local. An accessory brand I've known about is the Green Cannabis Co. It's simple, it's transparent. You can go online, you can see everything they're about and the message they say. So transparency is key, and it's right here in front of us right now, and JP's doing an excellent job at that with his company and everything surrounding it. So kudos to that. The hope that we see within cannabis in 2021 is per se, a recycling program similar to what the beer store or the LCBO offers right now. And that's going to do a lot for environmental impact when we start standardizing jars or using a standardized bag that is being able to be recycled. Bringing that in and having more people using the similar size makes it a lot more efficient in manufacturing, makes it a lot more efficient for reusing it. The beer store is doing it quite well. It would be very interesting to see how the cannabis community can work towards that. And being bold and making that change and challenging that is something I think we should do. And that's something I'm going to be looking into this year. Even to sourcing our packaging, we're going to be moving all of our packaging potentially to Canada right now. And that's going to help with environmental impact for any kinds of shipping and logistics. I've been to China, I've been into our factories quite often, and we're optimizing our manufacturing as much as we can. We're having about 1% to 2% wastage that's being reused. There's a lot of different things that are happening that we're just working more towards. And I think 2021 is going to have a lot of good turns and curves that are going to allow us to get to that as a community in a whole. Cannabis in Canada has been out of prohibition now for 2.5 years, and look at where we already are and look at where we can be with the technology and everything that surrounds us.
That's really inspiring. Thanks so much for sharing that, Brad. Yeah, that's really great to know. And moving everything to Canada would be great. I mean, it seems like you've got some pretty solid options.
Yeah, and I love that
Excellent.
beer store reference. I think that's a great example. The beer store's been green before green was green, and if the cannabis industry can move towards something like that, a large scale recycling program, that's incredible. That's an amazing idea. I love that. And thanks for the kind words, by the way, Brett. That's that's
Yeah.
nice. That's nice.
No problem. And the biggest thing is there's got to be a way. There's got to be some kind of way that we can collaboratively come together with a packaging solution that can be reused or more environmentally friendly as it works together. There's just got to be a way.
Totally agree.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, definitely. And it's safe to say that companies need to start factoring in sustainability into their bottom line because, with the way that things are moving, if consumers are, becoming more and more focused on that and their savviness increases and, bottom lines are affected when nobody wants to buy your product. So that's definitely
especially shareholder companies.
Exactly. Yep, worth the investment to make it more attractive for everyone and to really think about, the future instead of just the right now, which, we understand has not exactly been super kind to the industry, but these are the lessons and takeaways that we must factor in. So with that said, thank you both so much for joining this panel today. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to collaborating with you both in the future. It's been really
Thank
fun.
you so much, Jess, and I say the same. Thank you so much for this. It's been great, and thanks again, JP.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome. An amazing opportunity to sit and chat, and I look forward to working with you guys both a lot more in 2021.
All right, and for our next segment, we have a DIY sustainable holiday tree alternative with eucalyptus, twine, elastics, and string lights. Hey everyone, I'm Jess Nudo, and welcome to my living room, or at least a significant portion of it. Today, I'm going to teach you how to make a Christmas tree out of dried eucalyptus. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but if you don't think it's possible, let me show you. Behold, the dried eucalyptus Christmas tree. So, I'm going to show you how to do this with some very simple materials. You will need a string light, much like this one over here, which you can pick up at the dollar store. This I've already had in the house, and if you want to add any other decorations, you're totally free to do so. I had this solo purple ball decoration, which to me symbolizes my ode to the Art Pop album by Lady Gaga. So it makes a little a little appearance. I mean, she's pretty fabulous, right? So in order to make this tree, you're going to need the following materials. Some twine, which I picked up at the dollar store. Now, this is something that I had also in the house already. I use twine for a lot of different things, crafts, projects, organizing, etc., etc. You're also going to need a elastic, so 1 rubber band elastic per tier. I have 3 in my tree. And then you'll need a bunch of dried eucalyptus. So yeah, I've been collecting a lot. These are older, as you can tell. The color's kind of faded. But these are fresher, so they'll give more of a pop of color. And they can be picked up at any local florist. All right, so step number 1, you're gonna wanna lay out your eucalyptus on a flat surface and fan out the pieces in a way that they create kind of a fan or an A shape. So that's what I did. And I ended up with this. So this is what it's gonna look like. And then you can kind of, tweak it as you please. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab that bunch at the top over here and you're gonna wrap the elastic around it. Now that it's been wrapped in the elastic, you can go ahead and do that to 2 more bunches so that you can create a 3-tiered tree. And then what you're gonna do after that is you're gonna wrap the twine around so that it covers the elastic. And then you're going to give enough twine to be able to carry you. Well, I guess you can work upwards or downwards. It's really up to you. If you're gonna work upwards, you can save the little bit for the end to loop it around so you can push pin it into the wall or a cork board or whatever it is that you're using. And then you'll be adding the lights. So with the lights that I used, I ended up putting a little dab of nail polish on the light because the LED was just way too bright blue. And the peach just really softens the glow, as you can see. And that's pretty holiday spectacular. And of course, feel free to add any ornaments as you see fit. And there you have it, a festive, condo-compliant Christmas tree or holiday tree that doesn't require an actual tree to be cut down. You can use it with materials that you already have in your home. You can support a small business in your neighborhood and buy some fresh eucalyptus or even dried eucalyptus this time of year. And just be creative. You can add a spritz of different essential oils. I'm sure there's a couple of wintergreen varieties or holiday fragrances out there that would also work just as nicely. So yeah, be creative, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and be good to the environment. Happy holidays.
We'd like to introduce Diversify, a nonprofit organization dedicated to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion within the psychedelics movement. We're a group of Jedi-minded individuals who are sensitive to the need for diverse voices to be heard and supported in the quickly expanding psychedelic universe. Our hope is to be a non-performative group upholding the values of community, inclusivity, and equity in psychedelic spaces. In keeping with the mycelial-esque networking style of the psychedelics community, we invite reciprocal participation and learning. We're keen to have others involved in our mission. Some of our initiatives are things like roundtable discussions, a speakers database that you can sign up for or nominate your peers for, community to CEO discussions, and if you have any upcoming events in mind which you think could use a hand with getting diversified, please let us know. If you'd like to have a personal discussion to learn more, please reply to this email with a date and time that suits you best, and we'd be glad to chat. We're here for the story, not for the glory.
Hey guys, back here at Prince Edward Island, Prince Edward County. Almost got you. We're in Picton, and we really appreciated that last segment. This environmental sustainability of the cannabis industry is lacking. So I'm going to show you a few things that Erbn Green is kind of doing to try to get ahead of the issues where they lie. So we mentioned about the packages, good and bad. These are two of the options I like the best. There's the nitro can and then the thin and somewhat annoying to open sometimes package, but you always take the scissors to it if you get really frustrated. We got Truro Cannabis, Pure Sun Farms. They haven't paid. This isn't a paid placement. I like what they're doing and they're good actors. Another good one is 48 North here. They have the recyclable kind of cardboard package, which you feel a little bit less bad about throwing out. One other really important issue they brought up is the idea of not throwing things in the garbage. So we're trying to promote people here at Erbn Green to use the reusable 510 version of the vape cartridges. That way, you don't have to throw an entire stick in the garbage. And this way also, it means that we can take the thing back from you and recycle it ourselves. So we encourage everyone to make sure you recycle the 510s. Don't throw it in the garbage. That's bad. We definitely want to make sure that you bring it back to the store or recycle it responsibly yourselves. So that's our quick spiel. Thank you again to all of our participants in the first bit. So Farrell's going to read off some of the winners that we have for our Price is Right segment.
Okay, guys. So in the first box, $21 for the Soleil Free. That's our price on it. And the closest guess was DAHCL 13420, who guessed $20. So without going over, you guessed the closest. So you are going to win a prize pack.
Prize pack number 1. Door number 2. MediFarm.
$76.50. And the closest guess for that one was Mihi Cannabis, who guessed $56.
It's rigged. She owns a cannabis. No, I'm joking. We'll give it to you, Mimi. I'm just joking. Oh, it's not Mihi Lamb. Okay, I assumed it was Mihi Lamb. Never mind.
Number 3 is $64. That's for the Sundial 20-to-1 oil. And the closest guess there, we have Becky G, who guessed $59. So you will also win a prize pack. So all 3 of you guys will win a special Erbn Green
gift bag.
Pipe and gift bag.
There's some secret loot in there. We'll make sure. So please send us your email information, and we'll get these prize packages to you as soon as possible.
DAHCL 13420. Sorry. You guessed the closest to the actual price because it was $21 and you guessed 20. So you're going to get the extra special prize. Make sure you send us your address that we can mail those to you.
Amazing. So while we're still here, there's 2 last little bits that I want to do in the live segment. One is just remind everyone, the Eventbrite. Please go to Eventbrite. That's one of the ways you could donate to Lifeline Canada. You can go make a donation. The other way is by bidding on our silent auction items. So we really do appreciate anyone who can go and make a bid. We understand times are hard right now. So we did try to curate some small business items from people that we really do feel strongly about and are close to our hearts. So one last time, thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to Cannabis Wiki. This wouldn't happen without the platform that we're on right now. Some of this has been pre-recorded and some of it is live, like this segment right here. So they are pulling all the strings in the background, making everything happen, and thank you. Farrell's telling me that I've been cut off, so
Well, he'll just keep talking
I'll
all
just keep
night.
talking.
So I heard that you guys wanted to see Erbn Green Picton. We're tuning in from my laptop right now, so I'll just turn everything around so that you can see
the
the
store.
store. And I guess I'll just stand here and see what you can see. Hello. Right here is my cute little Christmas tree that I found at a local shop here in town. And I put some of my favorite accessories of the season out so that you can see some ideas to throw under the tree. Hope you guys have a happy holidays. Thanks so much again for joining tonight and for bidding on the auction prizes. All the proceeds will go to Lifeline Canada, a cause super important to all of us. So we really, really appreciate it. It really makes me feel great that everybody has come together tonight. Back over to you, Alex.
So we want to thank everyone for joining us. Oh, but I'm going to hop back into the screen here. Tree yourself. Thank you for joining us. We have some really exciting content coming up, so don't go anywhere. We're going to have a sesh at the end, so make sure to stick around for that. We're all going to smoke whatever it is that's in your bong or in your pipe or in your joint together. We have a surprise guest that we cannot wait for you to check out. And of course, we can't wait for the auction bids to keep coming in. We'll keep announcing as we get them. And on the last live segment, we're going to go out and let everyone know what the final total is for Lifeline Canada. So cheers, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in a bit.
Let's face it, events are meant to connect people, but virtual events tend to fall short because watching an event is one thing, but watching with friends is so much better. MindSue lets you talk amongst yourselves, meet with the sponsors face to face, and make real connections. Just click on the networking tab below and discover what makes MindSue different. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you'd like to host your own event, visit us at mindsue.ca.
The Lifeline Canada Foundation, also known as TLC, is a registered nonprofit committed to positive mental health and suicide prevention across Canada and worldwide. Along with constantly developing new positive mental health initiatives, the Foundation presently runs 3 main programs: the Lifeline website, the Lifeline mobile app, and Companion Pause Therapy Dogs. The Lifeline Canada Foundation's website is both a platform for information about the Foundation's initiatives, as well as a one-stop portal through which an extensive amount of support, guidance, information, education, resources, and tools are right at one's fingertips, compiled from various credited sources across the globe. The Lifeline Canada Foundation and its app and website are not a crisis hotline, although we do offer email support through the website. The Lifeline app is a free suicide prevention and awareness app that offers access and guidance to support for those suffering in crisis and those who have suffered the devastating loss of a loved one from suicide, as well as for those struggling with any degree of anxiety or depression. The Lifeline app also provides awareness, education, and prevention strategies to guide people in crisis. One can easily download the app from the lifelinecanada.ca website. The Lifeline app was developed as a centralized hub to connect people with accredited resources and has several main features and objectives. One-touch dialing from anywhere in Canada, fast and easy access to crisis centers all across Canada, to connect someone in crisis with the support and guidance they need 24/7, to aid in suicide prevention, to build suicide awareness, and to help guide loved ones left behind after a suicide. The Lifeline app includes direct access to online chat, text, and email crisis help, mapping to Canadian crisis line centers, self-management tools, e-counseling, pattern interrupts to interrupt the pattern of suicide ideation, mental health apps from across the globe, attempt survivor support access, Canadian and global online resources, and international crisis lines. People contemplating suicide or experiencing the depths of severe depression need to know they are not alone. Our resources gallery includes crisis centers, a library of resources, pattern interrupts, resource organizations, guides, and toolkits. Pattern interrupts are a way to change a person's state or strategy. We all have behavior patterns that are habit sequences. Usually habits are useful but can sometimes present a problem when trying to change habitual patterns of thought, emotion, or behavior. You want to change, but your unconscious keeps doing the same thing over and over. It's useful to interrupt your own pattern when stuck in a negative spiral. Use a pattern interrupt on the app to redirect your attention anytime you want to change your state. You'll find emotional support and inspiring videos, resources to do with self-management, acts of kindness, coping mechanisms, comedy, ways to transform negative thoughts, e-counseling, improving your mood, life-changing books, an inspirational image gallery, and more. Another main initiative of the Lifeline Canada Foundation is Companion Paws Therapy Dogs. Companion Paws is dedicated to supporting Canadians in need while providing a second chance for pets in rescues. The main programs are the Companion Paws Personal Therapy Dog Adoption Program, the Assisted Therapy Dog Adoption Program, and the program to certify your own dog. These programs are available in all provinces across Canada, and all information regarding the steps involved are available on companionpaws.ca. Through our Companion Paws program process, we assess, test, and certify 3 types of therapy dogs. 1. Personal therapy dogs. This is the first and only program of its kind in Canada. A personal therapy dog, a Companion Paws emotional support dog, is a trained, temperament-tested, evaluated, and certified dog that brings positive mental health benefits to their owners. 2. Assisted therapy dogs. Assisted therapy dogs join their handler or owner at their workplace to help their students, clients, customers, and/or patients. Typical owners would be educators, teachers, psychologists, counselors, and doctors. And 3. Visiting therapy dogs. Typically, our visiting therapy dogs visit hospitals, schools, hospices, nursing homes, homeless shelters, mental health events, conferences, and many other situations where they are requested and needed. Therapy dogs interact with a variety of people while they are on duty, mostly in the form of being loved and petted by the people they are visiting. Medical studies have confirmed what we all know from experience, that spending time with an affectionate pet makes us feel better. In fact, contact with a compassionate animal can significantly improve mental and physical health, as well as reduce stress, depression, and anxiety. A pet can make a huge difference in one's life. Therapy dogs come in all sizes and breeds. The most important characteristic of a therapy dog is its temperament. A good therapy dog must be friendly, patient, confident, gentle, and at ease in all situations. Please note, Companion Paws dogs are designated companion therapy dogs and are not service dogs. If you'd like to get involved, we're always looking for dedicated and committed volunteers for short, long-term, and task-specific help. There are many opportunities available. Please fill out the volunteer application on the lifelinecanada.ca or companionpaws.ca websites, and we look forward to talking to you. The Lifeline Canada Foundation's mission is to open minds, save lives, and restore hope. Whether it be through the information provided on the Lifeline Canada's website, through the Lifeline app, or through Companion Paws Canada, or any of our new and upcoming initiatives, we are constantly looking for ways to reduce the suicide rate and promote positive mental health.
Don't tell him what you want. He's a liar. Let the kid talk. You disgust me. How can you live with yourself? Just cool it, Zippy. You sit on a throne of lies.
Incidentally, I know how you feel about all this Christmas business, getting depressed and all that. It happens to me every year. I never get what I really want. I always get a lot of stupid toys or a bicycle or clothes or something like that. What is it you want? Real estate.
Hi everyone, happy holidays. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this very exciting variety show that has been put together by a group of very creative people. Probably for people like me, because I'm not really a fan of Christmas shopping. I like it better when I have these sort of suggestions thrown at me. So very grateful to everyone at Alan Aldous and Erbn Green and Jessica Nudo as well for putting this little thing together for everyone in the community. I really do appreciate it. We're going to be entering the book portion of this variety show, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little book that I wrote 2 years ago. It's called The Little Book of Cannabis, How Marijuana Can Improve Your Life. And it makes a fabulous stocking stuffer. Not just saying this because I wrote it. I've given it to a lot of people in my life as gifts, family, friends, people that are really unsure about cannabis. Maybe they're still threatened by it. Maybe, you know, they had a bad experience when they were younger, or they've seen someone have a bad experience, and so they're not really sure how to tackle the subject. They're very much outside of the cannabis Twitter bubble, if you will. And so what I've tried to do here is really break down a lot of that existing research, you know, through speaking with experts, and really just give people examples of ways that cannabis can be used in a positive way to sort of make your life better. That's literally the subtitle of the book. So yeah, I start off with a chapter that appeals to, or pardon me, applies to everyone. Sleep. So sleep is something we all deal with. Cannabis can be a great assistant to that. There's other chapters that are sort of more general. Cannabis as a superfood, cannabis for a steamier sex life. But then I also go into sort of more medicinal uses. Let's see here. Cannabis for stress and anxiety. I mean, for myself, that's probably what I use cannabis for the most. And what I love about this book too is, I'm not sure if he's there, you can, these illustrations that Brian Tong has done for every single one. So if you look closely, you can see there's Pipe and this little man who's meditating with cannabis. I love it. As for other sort of medicinal uses, obviously I cover chronic pain, cannabis as an exit drug. Another chapter is on cannabis to ease aging. So perhaps you're someone who's a little bit older, you're approaching the end of your life. Cannabis is a great way to sort of soften the anxiety around that. And rather than just loading a bunch of studies into here and speaking with experts, I've also spoken with individuals who have firsthand experience using cannabis in this way, so I've personalized it a little bit for everyone. So yeah, I think what this book really does is it pares everything down into a really approachable, digestible way. I've said this before, but when I was writing this book, I imagined that it was sort of a conversation I was having with my mother or my grandmother. So I was really, really focused on presenting this in a way that, you know, is not outside of, you know, understanding, I guess. And so for reader's length, I mean, it's 200 pages. It's a pretty quick read. I think you could probably get through this in about a day if you're quick. And it's definitely a good book to share. My favorite thing to hear from readers is that they've bought a copy, or maybe they received a copy from a friend, and then they shared it with their mom, and you know, and then their mom shared it with a friend, and then they all smoked a joint together, or something like that. I mean, during COVID, maybe that wouldn't be happening, but these stories never get old to me. And you know, I'm not just saying this from a place of like, go buy my book. I really do think it is a great introduction for someone who's a little hesitant. So yeah, if this is something you're interested in, you can buy The Little Book of Cannabis in a bunch of different ways. You can buy through Amazon, Chapters Indigo, your local bookstore will have it, and you can also buy it directly from me. If you'd like me to sign a copy for you, you can go to my website, amandasiebert.com/shop, and there'll be two options there. You can buy just the regular book or one that's been personalized. And yeah, I'm so happy to be part of this little event. So thrilled with the festivities that are going on, even if they're only online. And again, thank you to everyone at Alan Aldous, at Erbn Green, and Jessica Nudo for organizing this thing. I'm really happy to be a part of it. If you have any questions about The Little Book of Cannabis, please don't hesitate to reach out. Send me a direct message on Twitter or Instagram or email or whatever. I'm happy to talk. Thank you all so much, and happy holidays.
So I've been told to say
Bonjour, hi.
Hi. I'm Sarah Rose Siskin. I'm a psychedelic comedian, and I'll be interviewing the Charlie Wininger, Dr. Charlie Wininger. Thank you for joining me, Charlie.
Okay, we're gonna have to stop. I'm not a doctor.
Well, you're a doctor as much as Dr. Phil is a doctor. You're like a doctor of love.
Love doctor.
You're a love
Okay. Okay.
Off to a great start. So Charlie, Doctor of Love, unaccredited. I absolutely adored your book. I have to say, I finished this a couple weeks ago, and I went through it, and I was actually trying to highlight only the important bits. And so this is what my book looks like now. You know. I had an absolutely gorgeous time reading this, and I wanted to ask, just to start things off, how has your book been received so far?
Well, by you, apparently very well.
Right, the demographics of Sarah Rose Siskins adore it.
No, I'm getting wonderful reviews on Amazon and in person, and some uh, celebrity types have endorsed it. Tom Robbins, the novelist, endorsed the book, and Peter Coyote as well. But people are telling me that it's very easy. It's a good read, very engaging, and a good love story, and they're learning a lot from it. So people are actually surprised at how good a book it is. And I don't know how to take that, Sarah. What they expect? I've been working on it for 7 years. It better be good.
I heard one, I think it was a philosopher said your book was like a love poem to love itself. I think it must have been like some famous.
A very wise person who said that, whoever it was. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a love poem to MDMA and to my wife and to love itself. Well put.
So your book is called Listening to Ecstasy. So Charlie, what did ecstasy have to say?
It keeps talking to me, Sarah. Not talking to me at the moment, but I've done it over the years about 70 times over the past 20 years. And, one of the things it's saying is relax. It gets better. Things are looking up. Don't worry so much. And it's a particularly poignant message for me this year because there was so much to worry about. And as much as it's been a horrible year for many people, I have to say that for me, and thank God for the people I know and in the psychedelic community, we've come through it in one piece. And many people expected catastrophe in the election, and that didn't happen. Uh, so, and now there's a vaccine happening. MDMA tells me to what?
I said the vaccine, the greatest drug of all.
MDMA has been telling me that that the glass is half full and perhaps more than half, and to look at the bright side, because to be optimistic tends to be self-fulfilling, because when you're optimistic, you tend to act in ways that give more reasons, bring more reasons into your life to be optimistic.
Absolutely. And MDMA is kind of like the vaccine of, crippling self-doubt and depression and other illnesses, if not COVID, unfortunately.
Yes. And there's another illness that this charity event we're here to support, for suicide prevention, which is I'm so glad that people are doing this work. And I was thinking about that, and I can't say that MDMA will prevent suicide. That would be irresponsible. But I can say that for me and my wife and the friends that we know, including you, Sarah, that
dabbling in MDMA and other psychedelic compounds has opened the door to a whole world of friendship and fun and freedom, and the most wonderful people you'd ever want to meet. And community is one of the antidotes to depression. And I was surprised, and my wife and I were surprised that even at this later stage in our life, we didn't enter this community until we were in our mid 50s, which was 15 years ago now. We learned that the most wonderful, open-hearted, open-minded, embracing people you'd ever want to meet, and that was a real revelation to us.
Absolutely. I do feel like your book is kind of like MDMA itself, where it's sold as a party drug, but really it's an entry point into self-help. But it's helpful because it starts off, both your book and MDMA, with a group orgy. I'll let readers of the book find out what that's about. So
It's true, folks.
it really, I was like, oh, is this going to start off with a lot of exposition? No, throws you right in there. So you have that to look forward to, all for the devastatingly low price of something 99. All right. So my favorite part of your book was the way that you legitimize joy. So why do you think it is, Charlie, that we've learned to invalidate happiness?
We've learned to invalidate happiness, joy, fun, and play because we come from a culture, the Judaic Christian culture, that is not only work oriented but quite stern, and at times not only serious but cynical. I'm talking about the culture at large. And we have learned to invalidate joy because sometimes we don't know how to come down from it. We know how to have some happy experiences, but then when they end, which joy inevitably doesn't last, some people can't stand going back to a normal day-to-day life. What I have found, however, after doing MDMA so many times, is that the effects are cumulative, and they've helped me deal with everyday life with greater happiness and levity. And for levity, all I need to have as a friend is you, Sarah, because you crack me up all the time.
Oh my God, Charlie, I wasn't expecting this. Please, we have to keep it professional.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
No, it's really, I completely hear what you're saying. MDMA is one of those communities where you come for the drugs and you stay for the insane friendships. But
like I like to put it, the best part, I like to put it that, I'm sorry to interrupt,
no.
The best part of the psychedelic community isn't the psychedelics, it's the community.
Absolutely. And I have to say, your book is absolutely saturated with these bon mots that are just like, that's why I have so much of this book highlighted, is because of these incredible quips. So really do watch out for those if you're a fan of those. This may take a little bit of doing because I didn't write it down, but you have this one about how the greatest generation, the generation before the boomers, saw us, the boomers, as the freaks because they were the freaked out. And within 10 years, how does the line go?
Within 10 years, and I'm talking about like what happened with the 60s when there was an anti-LSD backlash. Within 10 years, they put Nixon in the White House, Tim Leary in the jailhouse, and psychedelics in the outhouse.
Yeah. I like, with lines like that, it is such an easy read. So, okay, moving on to my next question, because I want to, push you for the hard issues here, Charlie. I don't want this to be a total puff piece. I'm trying to froth you, get you some.
Okay, hit me hard, babe.
All right.
Hit me with the best shot.
All right. Speaking of hard, your book covers a lot of themes. It covers aging, love, mental health, political idealism, the scientific results of psychedelics, practical wisdom. So what of all these parts has been the hardest part of your book to write?
The science, because I'm not a scientist. I'm a psychotherapist. I've been practicing for 30 years, specializing in couples and communication skills, but I'm not a scientist. So I didn't do well in chemistry in school, which is ironic now because I have such chemistry in my life. But I don't. It's hard for me to get my head around this amazing compound, methylene dioxymethamphetamine, which is MDMA.
You're
So
practically
that was hard to write. So what I did was what? I'm sorry.
the fact that you
What'd you
know
say?
MDMA, the fact that you know what MDMA stands for means you are now legally a scientist.
Took me 10 years to memorize that. Um, yeah, it's been a wonderful journey, and I had a leading person in the field vet my chapter on a guide to safe use, which is the last chapter in the book, to make sure that all the information was completely accurate, and it is, and so I can stand behind it.
Yeah, the most scientific I get is the fact that I have this necklace with the MDMA molecule around my neck. That's pretty much as scientific as I get is jewelry. And this necklace I got from, you'll never guess, audience, from the Charlie Winninger.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're rolling
Yes,
so hard you
indeed.
don't remember. Just kidding. What do you call these again, Charlie?
Well, that's my logo, actually. You see, it's on the cover of the book as well. It's the MDMA molecule, or you could call it a molecule.
That's the one. That's the one. Bon mots around. All right. So my final question for you, Charlie, is how hard was it to write this entire book while rolling hard on MDMA?
No, I only unfortunately write sober, except for a little dark chocolate. Uh, and I can't write. I can take notes when I'm rolling. I do take notes because it's teaching me things. But I don't do the writing of the book high on MDMA. Otherwise, I probably would have burned out a long time ago.
Maybe the sequel.
Yes, maybe. And I
Okay.
got to say that MDMA is I found it to be astonishing and has so many benefits. It's not for everyone. I'm not a medical doctor. I can't guarantee that it's going to do for others what it does for me and Shelley and the people we know. But the book is not a scientific treatise, but it is a love story and an adventure story about how my wife and I entered a forbidden world of drug users and found it to be enchanted.
Well, with that, I'm going to leave the audience to go out and purchase the book. We need to give them the time to actually rush, to Amazon right now. Thank you so much, Charlie, for letting me interview you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got a diamond, you got 9 men, you got a hat and a bat, and that's not all. You got the bleachers, got them from spring till fall. You got a dog and a drink and the umpire's call. What do you want? Let's play ball. Is that a fly ball or is it a seagull coming in from the lake just to catch the game? It's the last inning, our guys are winning. Dave's put down a smoker, a strike, and you got no doubt. What do you want? Let's play ball. Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was just reading up on some of my favorite literature here, as you can see, and we again really wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Stumbling in on me in my living room here. Farrell has just gone to close down the shop in live time, but while we're here live, I figured we would use the opportunity for another prize giveaway. So these 3 lovely Charlie Winninger books are available online, and you can go buy them on Amazon. But we would recommend that we're going to do a little contest. So if you've been attending this show, you might have paid attention to my last segment. I mentioned sustainable packaging, and I brought a can out. So the first 3, this is a speed round. The first 3 people to write in and tell me what that name of the can is and what it has inside it, that's the hint, you might win yourself a lucky Listening to Ecstasy copy of this book. Now, the other part of this that we wanted to do in the programming was mention that you can also go get Amanda Siebert's book, The Little Book of Cannabis. That too is available. Makes a great stocking stuffer. And we would love to do some definite promotion for her, because I know she doesn't want to be salesy about her book, but it's an amazing book. You can find it in a lot of cannabis retail stores. And there's a lot of takeaways, from the segment we just saw with Charlie Winninger and Sarah Ross Siskin. Thank you for contributing. We really, really hope that the next few segments are going to live up to expectations. Again, we have a special guest coming up, and we will continue the live auction. So go over to the silent auction. There's still a lot of prizes up for grabs. There are 2 more Erbn Green bags, which we will be doing a giveaway on the next live round, as well as a Shatterizer gift bag. We will be giving that away as well. So there's still plenty of options to grab. We do want to also mention that there's an Addicted magazine giveaway coming up. So I won't tell you too much about that right now, but just giving you a heads up. So please enjoy the rest of the show, everybody. We invite you to go into the side panel. I hope I'm pointing, no, the side panel, and interact with each other, and we'll be ready to do a live session after the show. So have a great rest of the show, everybody, and we hope you enjoy.
Let's face it, events are meant to connect people, but virtual events tend to fall short, because watching an event is one thing, but watching with friends is so much better. MindSue lets you talk amongst yourselves, meet with the sponsors face to face, and make real connections. Just click on the networking tab below and discover what makes MindSue different. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you'd like to host your own event, visit us at mindsue.ca.
The night the reindeer died.
I've killed it. Oh, everything I touch gets ruined.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, 4-flushing carcass out my door.
She's rat bait.
1, 2. 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
Have you ever met that funny reefer man? Have you ever
funny reefer man. Reefer man. Oh, that funny, funny, funny reefer man. Reefer man. He smokes a reefer, he gets high, then he flies.
Hello, my name is Dana Carabon, executive producer at D&M Creative, and tonight I will be taking you down a bit of a reefer madness history journey. Smoke a reefer and get ready for some 420 entertainment.
Daring drug expose. Shame, horror, despair. Marijuana. Weed with roots in hell. Smoke that gets into youth's eyes. What happens at marijuana parties? Lust, crime, sorrow, despair, shame, hate, misery, weird orgies, wild parties, unleashed passions.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to injecting some marijuana with my partner later. Oh, it's heroin? Same thing, right? Also nice when you have several other versions of the poster to constantly reinforce this absolute truth.
A vicious racket with its arms around your children. Sin, degradation, vice, insanity, debauchery. The truth about marijuana. The smoke of hell. Devil's harvest.
Mr. Lucifer himself is a key figure in reefer madness history. Want to convince the masses something is terrible in 1930s America? Cuff it to the devil and voila! In one easy step of scaring the shite out of people with the mark of the beast, you've made major progress in stigmatizing whatever you want.
Marijuana! A puff, a party, a tragedy! Assassin of youth! Marijuana! Wild, mad thrills. Dope created ecstasy avalanching into frightful perversions. Makes beast of men and women. The burning question. Adults only.
What the heck kind of bra is this? Well, whatever bra it is, she surely is a
marijuana girl from Police Files. The babe with a yearn for blackmail. The real story of the broken bodies, wrecked lives, and shattered hopes that form the base of the narcotics empire. She likes to smoke dope. She likes to get high. She's a real bad girl. Dope. She traded her body for drugs and kicks. Marijuana girl. Never was there so outspoken a novel as this, telling the plain, uncensored truth about teenage addicts and their desperate search for thrills. She was low on morals, but she was high on grass. Sodom and Gomorrah for only 35 cents.
Want to stop women from using pot? Just slut shame them and make them feel like they'll become an utter hoe if she smoked that reefer. I honestly don't see anything wrong with Reefer Girl. She's just chilling. Speaking of which, what about boys?
A shocking novel of teenage dope addicts. Reefer Boy. Hal Elson, author of Tomboy. This author's books have now reached 3 million American sales.
Yeah, I'm sure that's totally true. The second picture right here, though, that's how I truthfully felt after my first dab hit. I mean, look at this guy. Chin back up. He's just feeling that.
Marijuana! Weed from the devil's garden. One moment of bliss. A lifetime of regret. Hunting a thrill, they inhaled a drag of concentrated sin. Reefer madness. Wake up, America. Here's a roadside weed that's fast becoming a national highway.
I gotta admit, I actually love that pun.
Here's the proof. The pounding on the doors. Thousands turned away. Marijuana, weed with roots in hell. adults only. Positively no children admitted. Capacity crowds night and day. Rialto now playing 3 shows daily. 2, 7, 9 p.m. This engagement only 35 cents. I don't know about pounding on the doors, but unfortunately, thousands of people have seen this trash and they can't unsee it. I mean, with cars strapping posters on the side like this, how could you want to miss out? But sometimes that isn't even enough. You have to go direct in making this ethnic. The adventures of a modern man among the cruel and passionate women of Algiers. Musk, hashish, and blood. Marijuana. El tabaco negro de diablo. Éxito de gran actor Pedro López Lagar. El Vico Querer. I cannot speak Spanish. I'm going to stop right here. The marijuana smoker of Latin America puffs out Nazi propaganda. Why? Because he waters and revives the local weed. The vicious part that potent marijuana plays in stimulating certain melody makers to fantastic heights of inspiration, and the efforts made to eliminate the evil, the black side of swing. Music that seems relatively tame and harmless today once was seen as evil, black-inspired devil's weed music, actually. And when you can't catch the kids at theaters or with adult newspapers, you can catch them with your weekly comic books. Do you want to buy madness, pain, and horror? Do you want to join the ranks of pitiful fools who have blazed the trail to destruction? Then come closer and have a cigarette. A special kind of cigarette called Satan's Cigarettes. I need to have a marijuana. I've got to have a reefer. Talk first. Start talking. See, now while all of this is happening, simultaneously, so are advertisements and endorsements for all of this. 20,679 physicians say Luckies are less irritating. It's toasted. Your throat protection against irritation against cough. Buy a Lucky Strike today. What an ignorant, twisted, and insane time they lived in. Like, they were truly backward. Don't listen to him. There are over 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S. Most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, that evil, dirty jungle, jazz, and swing result from marijuana use. Because see, when you smoke marijuana, you treat yourself holiday party people. When you smoke it, you're likely to kill even your own brother. It is the most violence-inducing drug in the history of mankind. It will only lead to insanity, criminality, and death when darkies smoke reefer. They actually think they're as good as white men. And when white women smoke marijuana, they seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and any others. Therefore, we must ban marijuana not just because of its effects on the lower races, but because of its damaging effects on our American values. In all seriousness, thank goodness we have been smart enough to overcome all of this American propaganda. I haven't even shown you a quarter of what I've collected. Millions of lives have been destroyed as a result of the stigma, and here we are today with federally legal cannabis. We should count our blessings, but also recognize that since many countries are looking to Canada for guidance, it is therefore fundamental that we acknowledge the wrongs of the past and take steps to right them so that others may follow suit. Supporting organizations like Normal, Cannabis Amnesty, and even myself at D&M Creative is one way to do that. But another way to do that as part of the cannabis community is to just be your best self, to erode the stoner stereotype through good habits, great actions, and powerful results that create positive change in our society at large. This 21st century cannabis movement is truly about transcending spiritually, medically, and economically with the power of cannabis. Thank you, and happy holidays, everybody.
We want to say
Well, Sandy, we're
something.
Sandy and Mark Rogan, and we would like to wish everyone
A happy things that happen in December.
very happy, healthy, peaceful,
Things that happen in December, whatever they are.
very healthy.
But
Healthy
you
is
know,
big.
Hanukkah
Christmas, Kwanzaa,
stuff. You know,
probably other things we don't
happy
know
things. Happy things.
about. Yes. Time to be with family remotely, but always with family and friends and people you don't know who you might like or don't like.
That's good. You did good.
We've been asked to show you some of the things around our place. We have strategically planted some houses that kind of we actually got these houses a number of years ago, which I can't never. Where is it?
Here.
Yeah, I know.
Here.
I don't know why
Lower.
I don't know why the camera doesn't.
Lower. Stop.
It's like the camera is up, but the
Go
there,
look.
there it is.
There it is. There's the house.
We got these houses. When we flew KLM a number of years ago, they were giving out these little houses. They apparently have flying
Get
to
that?
flying to
Amsterdam.
Yeah, they apparently have the bits of liquor in them, but we never tested the theory
More of them.
and
Another one.
planted around. And this is our family wall,
Planted in the house.
which we have
Lower.
over.
Lower.
How come it doesn't go?
There you go. You did it. Stop moving.
Crooked in a way.
No, stop moving.
I can't get it to center. There.
It's right there. There's the
There.
little house.
There's one above it.
Here.
Yeah, there's one way up there. There you
And
go.
here.
There you go. And way
Oh,
up there,
there.
there. And
Houses he planted.
the only real plant that we might have that you might call a plant is our dead roses that are right there, which we meticulously dried by totally forgetting to water them. So they kind of took it upon themselves just to remind us how incompetent we are as house planters.
We have two other sets of dead roses.
Yes.
We have flowers. We have a really big deck, but nothing is growing on our deck.
Except weeds. We're very good at weeds.
We're good at that.
Where is it? Oh,
Good at weeds.
There's one of them. Yeah.
There's that. Another thing.
There's another one. We've been very successful at killing flowers and having them taking it upon themselves to remind us how incompetent we are.
It's good. They can't grow anything, so that's fine.
Was that pot on the shelf one of Seth's?
Yeah, I'll show you some of his if you want. We have a few.
They were on that shelf.
One I
That
just
was it.
got.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing, this red one. It is awkward to see. Why can't we just see it? Oh, like that. The red one. I just got that. Yeah, that's nice.
The ones on the shelf.
Yeah, and the other ones that were. I'll just show you again. If you can see them. Whoa, very yucky day. Yeah, those are
Damn. Oh, your son really loves pot.
with this. He loves pot. He loves pottery, pot. He likes it all. But he's pretty good at it. That's the thing that's interesting.
Wait is better. Lauren is better.
Yeah, Lauren's a little more skilled in pottery than he is, but they're good. They made all the bowls and plates and dishes for their new house. I just moved. She made all the plates and everything for it.
We'd like to mention that this broadcasting is in support of the Lifeline Canada Foundation, which helps in suicide prevention. And anyone who can should send some donations to the Lifeline Canada Foundation. And we thank you.
Said.
Thank you very much.
Well said. Perfect.
Be well.
Hi there, my name is Nadia Cradley and I am the co-founder and managing editor of Addicted Magazine. We are a lifestyle entertainment publication based right here in Toronto, Canada, and we're thrilled to be participating in this cannabis holiday market that is happening virtually, which is so cool. So happy holidays to everyone out there. We are both, my business partner and I, big fans of the cannabis industry, and we love to see all the innovations and the community that have come together out of legalization and all the cool stuff that has happened. We love partnering with awesome cannabis lifestyle brands as well. So we're really thrilled to see everybody that's participating today. And along that note, we are doing what we're calling our Days of Giving. It's our holiday giving contest campaign, and for that we've actually partnered with some awesome cannabis lifestyle brands, including Cannabis is the New Kale, Toki, the Green Cannabis Company, and more. So you should head over to www.weareaddicted.com to check out our contest and to enter, and to also check out some of our amazing content. We love to feature people from all sorts of walks of life, business owners, cool different brands, music, all sorts of great stuff. And the whole idea is to create content that is positive, that gives good vibes, and that makes people have a little bit of a brighter day, especially this year, 2020, the year of this crazy pandemic. One other cool thing that we're doing, speaking of the pandemic, is we have started selling reusable masks. That's right, we've got some awesome Addicted branded reusable masks that we have partnered with an awesome company called Kiko that's based right here in Toronto to make them. They're really beautiful. They're really light, they're really thin, they feature the cool little bendy thing for your nose. They've got really nice little light ear loops that you can tie and twist if they're too big or small for you. This is a size small and that fits my face. And they just look really, really cool. And the great thing that we're doing right now as we get our online shop up and running is we are going to be giving away some of these masks in a contest that's going to be launching today on the very same day of the virtual market. So you guys need to go check that out. And for anybody who doesn't want to wait to see if they'll win, we are actually going to be giving away a set of masks for anybody who makes a $20 or more donation to our GoFundMe campaign that we're using to raise money to build and create survival kits for the unhoused people that are living currently in Trinity Bellwoods Park here in Toronto. It's an issue that is really, really upsetting us. We live in the neighborhood, so we see this every single day, and it breaks our hearts. So last weekend, Mark and I actually went and handed out 25 packs to some unhoused folks, filled with sweaters and blankets and socks and all sorts of things to help keep them warm. If we could give them homes, we could, but we're trying to do something to help the situation. So for anybody who donates $20 to our campaign, for, I'm going to say, the first 10 people, and then we'll see how many masks we have left, because we're also giving some away as part of the contest. Anybody who makes a donation, we will pick some of you to be sent a mask, and we want to also start driving sales, and we're going to be donating proceeds from our mask sales to continue to help create these packs and give people in unhoused situations here in Trinity Bellwoods Park, some stuff to help them get through until we can secure them housing. So I'm really, really happy to be a part of this today. I think the market is going to be wonderful. It's great to see the sense of community that comes around cannabis and the very, very cool people that I get to meet and work with as a result. So check out our awesome new masks. Consider donating to our GoFundMe, and of course, enter our contest and read all of our cool content. And most of all, enjoy the market, support small business, shop local, have an amazing holiday season, and thank you so, so much. Peace.
Look at us all together, all apart and together. Good night, everybody.
How
I'm
exciting.
Planet Armstrong, and I'm joined by a couple of special friends here. We've got Kurt Robbins, we've got Dave Rhines, and we've got a special guest that we're going to interview, the three of us. And I think this is going to go really well. So I'm going to introduce everybody a little bit separately, just really briefly to get warmed up. And I'll start with Kurt. Kurt is coming in from Las Vegas. He's actually been a bit of a mentor of mine. He is a longtime cannabis writer and researcher and has done so much for the space. He was kind of the impetus for this segment in a way that we can get into a little bit deeper soon. But yes, this is kind of like a little bit of a really wet, dry run for a podcast idea that the seed that he planted in the minds of myself and Dave Rhines. And Dave Rhines is joining from Washington. Hey, Dave.
Hey, nice to see everybody here. This is my format works. Kurt, you're looking good today. Well groomed, I see.
The background
Thank you,
about
sir. Nice to see you.
Oh, I'm a little bit on a delay, but sorry. I wanted to introduce Dave a little bit further. He's coming from Washington, and give us a little bit of background of your time in the cannabis space and your socials.
Sure. Thank you. I have been active in the cannabis space for about 10 years, I guess. I come from the traditional publishing world. I grew up at Rolling Stone magazine and was president of Spin, and came out to the West Coast to work for Bill Gates at the beginning of the internet revolution. And when I heard that legal cannabis was being considered back in the 2010 timeframe, I relocated to Seattle and started the Marijuana Business Association. So we started grassroots organization in Washington and Colorado and Oregon and really on the East Coast as well. Then over the years, and started MJ News Network and a whole host of social media channels as a forum to connect people in the emerging industry so they could share best practices, share concerns, and really build a network and framework for changing the legal framework around cannabis and cannabis consumers.
Thank
so
you.
I still do that today.
Kurt, did I miss anything in my introduction with you that you wanted to add before we introduce our special guest?
No, I'm looking forward to talking to our guest, because sometimes when I think Canada, and obviously we think of BC and Vancouver, and we think of Toronto and Ontario, right? The population centers. And you got a lot of really exciting, and what impresses me is innovative things going on in the cannabis and hemp space. So let's get on with it. I'm curious.
Should we get on with it?
Yeah.
The one thing that I was talking about with you yesterday was I kind of made a connection between you and our special guest. I was like, the two of you just have such a knack for, promoting yourselves or really creatively communicating about what you do in a way that is like fun and inventive and really engaging. So without further ado, she's already on the screen. Gosh darn it. Toronto's own lawyer. She works in cannabis. She works in tenant law, and she also works in She speaks English, French. She also speaks comic. And without further ado, Karima Saad, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for that intro.
So we want to talk about a couple of things. You're the executive director of Normal Canada, which is separate but still a part of Normal, which is a non-for-profit organization that advocates for issues revolving around cannabis law. You're a lawyer. You're situated right in the heart of Toronto, right on Spadina. If everybody knows, you know her. And you've been keeping comedy alive all throughout the pandemic. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and let's get started.
Well, you got my attention because you're doing comedy, and the psychologists and the doctors and the smart people tell me that during times of stress and anxiety, and we're certainly in that zone, right? That comedy is all the more important for good mental health. So that's really what got my attention.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a needed outlet right now, and for me personally, it's a good coping strategy, like observing other people being funny or attempting it on my own, and so I don't know about keeping comedy alive, but definitely part of what we tried to do this summer was create a venue where people could get together outdoors in a distanced way, and in my own work, I produce comics. So, you know, it's there's not a whole lot to laugh about. Although, truthfully, like the news is so weird that like you could laugh or cry at any given headline.
Well, and I think in times of change, comedy acts as the best arbiter of the truth. You can make fun of the political situation and get a much deeper insight than you can in our politicized cable news world.
Yeah, I think you cut through a lot of it with comedy, right? And especially like the best is that involuntary laugh. Where you know someone
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily agree with your viewpoint, but they're like, "Oh, wow, that's funny."
You laugh because you don't want to cry, you know. And the other thing I was thinking is that the notion of cannabis law is somewhat funny anyway.
I mean, it is. It feels sort of like an oxymoron at times. Although, really, our history of criminalizing cannabis is only, you know, 100 years old or so. So we haven't been doing it for that
80
long,
years
but it
old,
was
yeah.
so entrenched as and normalized that it was just criminal. And so my work with Normal is really trying to counter some of those forces and push for policies that are sensible, equitable, fair. Those are I think, should be the prevailing considerations.
So tell me a little bit about what's going on in Canada. You, unlike the States, have a fully national legalization, and you have Health Canada involved. Pharmacies, there's a certain normalization. What are you talking about in normal Canada? And are those consumer issues? Are you talking about things like pesticides and packaging and shelf dates and contaminants, or are you talking about social equity and normalization of taxation?
I would say that
Where's the
there's, I mean,
conversation?
there's things going on different fronts. I mean, one of for me an important question is medical patients, without whom legalization really like wouldn't have come to pass in the way that it did, or as promptly as it did. But now that that's happened, you know, policies that leave medical patients behind, or even that don't factor them in sort of as central figures, and accidentally exclude people. I think that that's a problem. So taxation and access to medical cannabis and cost. So that's one equitable point, and the other I would say is who has access to positions of power in the industry right now. And there's a huge discrepancy between who bore the brunt of enforcement of prohibition, and that's largely Black and Indigenous Canadians, and who is profiting from the legal market. And I think that bridging that gap, and it's still a very new industry, so there's no reason why there are barriers to entry that exclude people who helped bring legalization about. So I would say on the equitable front, those are some of the concerns, but also part of our work is ensuring that we have like a functional and logical market for like legal actors as well. So Normal's been vocal about for example, ensuring that retailers in Ontario and across the country are able to do curbside pickup, delivery as essential services, but also, you know, businesses that need to survive, and that they, I think, provide something that consumers, there's a lot of valid reasons why people need to access cannabis right now, and that should be facilitated. So looking at some of the sort of obstacles to business, and again, with the lens of what's fair and what's sensible.
And that's been, I'm sure, a challenge over the last year when those rules and regulations on the like municipal level and provincial level have changed. And sometimes it has to do with, just how on the provincial level, uh, dealing with businesses that deal with like face-to-face contact, retail most specifically has to operate. What I mean, going into 2021, like what are some of the considerations, or maybe like um, uh, preparations that Normal has been talking about, if you've been?
Yeah, well, one thing that is upcoming is a review of the Federal Cannabis Act. So our landscape in Canada is that it's the federal government that makes certain rules and the provinces that make other rules. So it's not sort of a clear cut across the country, you get the same thing everywhere. And so part of the federal rules, there are some restrictions on possession that, don't really make sense. For example, 30 grams being your maximum public amount
Quantity
of
limit.
possession,
Yeah.
right? But like that's, an ounce, right? And there's nothing that stops me from going and buying like 30 cases of beer and
That's right.
transporting that. So if it is sort of legal cannabis, if we're going to maintain that distinction, which itself I think is problematic, but fine, maybe we take this in baby steps. But addressing things like those possession limits that are just sort of nonsensical and create room for problems where there shouldn't be any. I think that's those are changes that are realistic to make, and we can dream bigger and push for change beyond that as well. But there's some very logical steps that could be taken right now.
What's the situation with home grow in Canada?
So that's a federal government decision, meaning it applies across the country, and it's for plants. Now there's sort of some question as to it's
What
for
is a plant?
per dwelling, but like that can get a little bit murky and confusing. And some of the provinces, so Quebec and Manitoba, they both put in their own rules saying actually no growing here, like we don't care what the feds say. So in Quebec, that was overturned. In Manitoba, the litigation, I believe, is still in progress. But it's a constitutional question, and but short answer is for plants recreationally, and someone might have a medical license to grow on top of that.
Yeah, interesting that you brought up, that it's a constitutional issue because, not unlike the U.S. in Canada, a lot of the movements in our legislation have happened because of constitutional, uh, uh, arguments that go to court. So it has been, a patient that goes to court that you know demands when we moved from the MMPR to MMAR, it was, how can you allow me to grow these plants but also not create my own medicine, whether that, if it's an edible, that how can that be? But there's still movements to be made, so it's not it's pretty reasonable in Canada to think that even now, even though that it's federally legal in many senses, that there still won't be cases brought to court to contest some of the rules and regulations that are in place right now, and to move that forward even further.
Right.
And
I
one
think there's
area where
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say one area where we probably will see litigation is driving legislation, because they changed the rules for impaired driving to try and account for cannabis, but they set up limits that kind of mimic the system for alcohol. And cannabis just doesn't work the same way as alcohol. So there's no sort of standard level where we're for sure impaired, and because a daily smoker at a joint is not the same as someone who, has never smoked before and took a single long hit.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing issue here. What they've kind of come down to is you have to have probable cause. So it really isn't enough just to smell or to know someone is a smoker. They have to be driving recklessly or otherwise violate behaviors. So I think that where we're coming down as the normalization takes effect is there are enough existing laws on the books regulating driving or any other behavior. People ask, what about consumption at work? Well, you're not allowed, for the most part, unless you're in the rock and roll industry like I was, to be impaired at work. So whether that was impaired on alcohol or pharmaceuticals that your doctor prescribed or marijuana, it wasn't a question of the substance, it was a question of the behaviors. And I think there's enough regulations trying to govern our behaviors, and we probably don't need more. That's where we're coming down. But it's all because of the fear factor that reefer madness, we're going to be a nation of zombies stoned out of our minds, and this is something to fear. What we've seen in all cases is that's not what happened. And driving, for example, there are fewer accidents. There are less domestic violence, less gunfights when you take the alcohol out of the equation.
Most definitely. And the more people know about kind of the history of prohibition and how criminalization came about and why, and the very petty personal politics that factored into that, I think that sort of helps unravel some of the damage of decades of propaganda.
Right. And don't forget that after prohibition was repealed, it was illegal to brew your own beer or make your own wine in many jurisdictions up until the 70s or the 80s. I grew up in Indiana. I think it was only legal to brew your beer like yesterday. They just finally got around to it. And there are still dry counties in Texas and Utah and many other places. So, that the regionality is fine, but I think it's interesting. I was going to say the other big issue is the medical justification. And NORML, as a historical notion, has always argued for legalization based on human rights and civil rights. It was an outgrowth of consumer protection, the Ralph Nader movement. Medical got us legal and created a semi-legal, quasi-legal, pseudo-legal status, and got us, access to safe cannabis in some places earlier, but has really been problematic as now normalization as medicine. You want to have Health Canada or the FDA, big pharma, take it over. And so the notion of growing your own pharmaceuticals doesn't quite fit as nicely as growing your own herbs.
I think you're right. And cannabis as medicine, and cannabis as a plant, doesn't really lend itself to commodification in the way that, one batch is the same as the next, and you obviously there are, you grow and you will like cultivate certain strains and characteristics and so on and so forth, but there's an element to it that makes it's not identical the way that you would have a pharmaceutical that is, you know, exactly identical. So I think that it challenges sort of some of the preconceived notions, assumptions that exist, and it will either really force out of the box thinking, or, you know, the system doubles down, and, you know, that's what I hope doesn't happen, that it, you know, it becomes sort of a rec for all system, and if you have a medical need, well, it's available through the rec market, so what difference does it make? Because I think it does make a difference.
Well, that's the de facto pretty much what's happened in the States is that when rec comes in, the medical system tends to shrink and in most cases sort of be subsumed as a subsegment of rec. What's interesting to me is the carve outs. So you see GW Pharmaceuticals doing epidiolex for the seizure market. You're seeing cannabis health and beauty aids, which are being sold in grocery stores, mainstream stores in Washington as a full plant extract, and carve outs around things like CBD, right? And even with the United Nations saying, hey, well, what are those standards? What is the differentiation? It's pretty complicated stuff, particularly when you get into international law.
Sure. One thing that we've been puzzling about is, you know, how to put a drug identification number on cannabis. You know, does it get assigned for cannabis as a whole? It couldn't be. Thinking of all the combinations of cannabinoids and terpenes, you know, each plant could be its own drug, could be given its own drug identification number. And then on the other hand, like it's so very nuanced. Look, I come from a family that likes to hunt, gather, and make their own stuff. Not all of it. We're not like pioneer folk, but you know, our nonas and nonies are, you know, they make their own wine, they make their own grappa, they forage for mushrooms in the hills, and you know, grow their own herbs and tomatoes. This year we did a whole tomato grow, and this year was my first time growing cannabis, and it's in our blood. And I think as humans it's in our blood to kind of like experiment and grow a little bit of our own, but also have a system where we can rely on fair and accessible medicine that we choose, not that's just prescribed to us, but that we can also choose. It's so very nuanced.
Right. But what I'm saying is that I want to have access to cannabis and not be a patient. I don't want to have to justify my usage because there's something wrong with me. I don't need a test. I don't need permission. And I don't need a badge. So I just need access to cannabis. And you can call it medicine, or you can call it recreation, or you can call it nutraceuticals, or whatever you'd like. My point is we should all have access to it, and there should be regulation, just like there's regulation of our food and water and electricity and everything else. But that doesn't mean that I have to pass a test or that I have to justify my usage.
Yeah, that shouldn't be mutually exclusive at all. I agree.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you know, where there continue to be you know, civil criminal penalties for cannabis use, it's just really like
Right.
mind
And
blowing.
and that's the amount, right? It's like, oh, you can have your prescription drugs, but if you have 2 bottles of oxy, now you're, you know, a doper. It's not like that with cannabis. It's like tea, you know. Oh, I have a pound and a half of coffee. There must be a problem. It's not that way at all. You know, so I
I'm
think
just
that there's just a
economical.
normal. It's just I don't want to keep going to the store, you know,
I want
or
a
I
bulk
have
discount,
access
damn
and
it.
I just want to keep buying. I can't stop myself. And that's kind of my deal. I like going into stores and trying different stuff. And anyway, so like I said, I think we have enough rules and regulations around our behaviors. And if we're driving erratically, we have those rules, and it doesn't matter if we're high or that we've eaten too much pumpkin pie.
Okay, let's just like do a little bit of, it's been a bit wild year. Maybe we can go around the table and just say a little bit about, you know, individually, for those who do know us and don't know us, what our year has been like, maybe you know, one or two of the challenges, and then maybe all of us say like our hope for the next year, if that's okay, and then we'll wrap it up slowly. We could sit here chatting all day, and I think people would love to hear that. But you know, by the way, everybody that's watching, this is again a dry run for what Kurt, Dave, and I will be launching very soon, a podcast series. So thank you very much, Karima, for being our first victim.
I like it. I'm like the guinea pig. I like it. You guys are, that's great. Remember, I'll be in the Wikipedia.
There's a face behind the social media account now. I just knew you from your Twitter account, so you look a little different than your avatar. So, you know, reality is cool.
Hey, but
reality is always more disappointing. But here we are, nonetheless. Yeah. Okay. That's good reflection questions, and actually, yeah, December's always a good time for that. Okay, wait, I'm so sorry. Can you remind me, what are we reflecting on? Okay, so something that was good
just
for
like
this year, and then a challenge, yeah?
Yeah, maybe just like a couple of the challenges that we came across this year, because we're all professionals. We've all been in this space for a bit. A couple of the challenges that we came across this year, and what we're looking forward to, or what we're hoping to accomplish in the coming year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge has been unpredictability, right, for the past 9 months or so. And that's probably not going to change anytime soon. So perhaps, you know, what I hope for 2021 is, you know, to, I guess, continue to foster resilience and like flexibility and adaptability, and that's for sure a muscle. And you know, I'm not sure about the rest of you. I'm a little bit A-type, so it's hard not having control over things that you would otherwise kind of take for granted as having control over. So you know, continuing to roll with those punches. That's what I hope for the new year.
Very relatable. Kurt, do you want to go next?
Sure, yeah. Well, you know, I have felt a little guilty, quite honestly, because I've been doing the work from home thing since like 1996 during the .com. And so, you know, I learned all the little tricks, and I've always loved technology, and, you know, had the fastest internet connection I could get my hands on and that kind of thing. So, while I realized the whole pandemic, you know, has just caused financial distress for so many people and organizations, but this has just been more of what I've always been doing, working remotely and doing distance everything, distance education, you know, distance collaborative development. You know, when Google Docs came out, we said, oh, great, we don't have to send PDF email attachments 400 times a day, you know. there's all these wonderful tools available for people now. So I kind of try to be an optimist and tell people, hey, don't freak out too much during the pandemic and quarantine. From a production perspective, from a work perspective, we have a lot of really wonderful and fairly refined tools at our disposal, whether it's your internet connection or your MacBook Pro or your Zoom account or whatever it is. But all those things come together and let us keep working. So I'm actually kind of impressed by the things we're able to do during pandemic with the limitations of social distancing. I'm working with people who are thousands of miles away, but again, I've been doing that for a long time. So I'm just kind of trying to share the knowledge and tell people, look, don't freak out. You know, you can do some amazing things with a computer and a mouse.
Yeah, I would echo what Kurt says. This has been a challenging year for everyone. This COVID pandemic, I think, has taken an emotional toll on a lot of folks. And for someone who spent most of the last 10 years, you know, in grassroots local events and organizations, it's certainly challenging and disruptive not to be able to meet with folks one-on-one. I think, you know, we've learned the art of the Zoom, and while that is fun and productive, it's not the same thing. And I think that so this is kind of the year that was lost, or the year and a half, whatever it turns out to be. But in many ways for cannabis, this has been a boom year, because what we achieved was another major step forward in normalization. Cannabis was declared essential as a business and remained open in many in most locations, and so that was really good. And then the easing, if you will, of things like delivery and curbside pickup and online ordering, and the development of CRM and the adoption of digital media and platform strategies for cannabis companies is a huge step in normalization and will only continue. And then politically, what we've seen for the first time ever, you've seen the House of Representatives with the MORE Act calling for the decriminalization of cannabis. You've seen the vice presidential candidate, now vice president-elect, call for decriminalization of cannabis. And you've seen cannabis go so mainstream, in large part because of the Canadian public companies that then migrated over and changed it. So I would say that we are on a tipping point for cannabis, and that for me it's super exciting, because it means that what you're going to see is not just the involvement of medicine. We've been talking all about pharmaceuticals, but really the society at large, entertainment, consumer products, lifestyle. You're going to see a normalization, and you are of cannabis and cannabis consumers. And this will be something that will continue to change our cultures for the next couple of decades. So it's super exciting. And those of us who have been early adherents and advocates for legal cannabis, I think, are going to start seeing that our opinions and our insights into those consumer behaviors and into those local markets and into some of the issues we've talked about will become even more valuable, and the discussion even richer for all of us on so many fronts. So I'm excited about the future.
The three of you really put it pretty perfectly, and I feel like I can buffet off of a few of your answers and wrap up my piece pretty quickly. But you know, Kurt, like you, I've been working remotely and working on my own for so long that this was not it wasn't a crazy change. But for those of you that do know me, you know, I was part of a team that started a business that launched, you know, February 17th. So we're talking, you know, only weeks before. in Toronto, we went under lockdown. So my goodness, we've been separated and working remotely and working in this interesting new way, and working with cannabis brands that have been also restricted. Retail stores, Dave, you mentioned click and collect and delivery, and spot on. And it has challenged us in so many ways, but also maybe I'm just working with the best people on earth, but it has really enlightened us in all of the ways that we can work with these regulations, work with things changing, sometimes on a weekly basis. Sometimes we're waiting until the 12th hour to hear, will this be allowed, will this won't be allowed, and we have to pivot, and our clients have to pivot. And Harrison Jordan, Alex Krause, I'm going to call you out right now. Some of the best people I've worked with in doing this, and so it makes me really excited for the next year. I'm still scared. Like it's not perfect. It's not sure, but like we really do have so many. In Kurt's words, the smart people in the sandbox. Working with us, and for that I'm glad, and for that, and that's what has got me, and what has got many people that I know through this year. Going forward, we really hope that on the provincial level, there are some things on the provincial and federal level that don't quite align, and that's okay, because it's new. It's new for all of these agencies. So maybe we can be the harbingers of kind of bridging some of that knowledge, and maybe making some of these regulations a little bit clearer or a little bit more fair. 2021. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up really shortly. There's so much more show to go. Kurt, Dave, Karima, thank you so much for being here. I'm not gonna leave it at that. Everybody can give their last word, but I'm gonna make a preemptive thank you, because this was wonderful. And everybody, please, if you enjoyed this segment, please tune into Kurt, Dave, and myself. We are all over social media. We will be pumping up our podcast when it starts up. So everybody, please do say your goodbyes and plug yourselves.
I'll try to shout over
The
the
dog
dogs.
can plug himself too.
Yeah, part of the fun of COVID. Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure to be able to participate in this event. It's holiday season is normally we're gathering in person, and this is a good second best. Plugging myself. If you're interested in my comics, my website is Karima Rules, CARYMA Rules RULES.com. I'm also a lawyer practicing in Ontario, so if you have landlord-tenant issues, feel free to hit me up, and stay tuned, because Normal Canada has some stuff coming up in 2021 as well. So thank you for having me again.
Kurt or Dave, either one.
Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, guys. I'll jump in. Thank you for having me. This was really fun. Yeah, I would say that my last plug is let's advocate for hemp. Reuse, recycle, repurpose. Hemp can always be used whenever plastic is used. So let's first of all try to get to hemp. The other thing I would say is always looking to spread the word of what's going on. So if you have MJ events or MJ news to share, please go to mjnewsnetwork.com or send me a note, info@mjba.net, and we will get it out to our vast network, social media channels and blogs and stuff.
Cool. Well, Karima, you mentioned almost a century of prohibition, and there was a lot of propaganda, misinformation, and ignorance that's resulted from all of that. So, really, my whole mission is just to try to create a common vocabulary and a base education for people. There was an LA market intelligence organization back in June, despite the pandemic. They took data from 2019. They'd collected from 20,000 consumers, and they found out that about 75% of these are cannabis consumers spending money on cannabis and cannabis products. 75% didn't know what the word terpenes meant or endocannabinoid system. So it's kind of like drinking Coca-Cola and not knowing what the hell sugar is, right? So that's my whole mission. Dave's helping me out. A lot of people helping me out, but trying to get people to understand what's a flavonoid, what's the endocannabinoid system, what's a terpene, what's a cannabinoid, and we'll get there eventually.
Great. Thank you again so much. Just a quick plug for myself, not that you need it because I'm not that interesting, but Alana Armstrong on all social media, and you can find me at Alan Aldous. Please call us. On behalf of Karima Saad, Kurt Robbins, and Dave Rhines, we're saying good night, but stay tuned for the rest. You know where you can actually find me? I'm going to put myself where you can actually find me in the sesh room. Goodbye.
Sesh room.
Cheers, guys.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's face it, events are meant to connect people, but virtual events tend to fall short because watching an event is one thing, but watching with friends is so much better. MindSue lets you talk amongst yourselves, meet with the sponsors face to face, and make real connections. Just click on the networking tab below and discover what makes MindSue different. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you'd like to host your own event, visit us at mindsue.ca.
Hey folks, it's that time of the year again. That's right, holiday time is fast approaching. So consider getting a copy of Listening to Ecstasy. It's a great stocking stuffer, next to pure MDMA itself. Maybe it's right for that veteran grandpa of yours, or a curious kooky aunt. Maybe your cousin like Michael Pollan's book. This is a way of starting a conversation with them about these marvelous medicines. And maybe next year's holiday gathering will be just a little more special. Okay, that's all for now. Go out and make sure you buy a copy of this amazing book.
Hey guys, it's Anthony from Clean Peace Toronto, your friendly neighborhood bong cleaner, and I'm just going to do a quick video and show you how to clean a bong in a few minutes. This guy's got some nastiness floating in it, used it a couple times, and we're going to clean it up for you. So the first thing you want to do is you obviously have to take your down stem and your bowl piece out. We'll put them to the side for later. And to begin, let's start with dumping out the nastiness that's in there. So, first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take some warm water. You're going to add it to the bong. Warming the piece up is going to help speed up your cleaning process significantly. A little science for you, every 10 degrees that you increase the temperature of the bong, it's going to clean twice as fast. So, the water I've got there is just hot water from the tap. Probably 30-35 degrees Celsius. So just give it a little shake, try to warm the glass up a bit. Dump that. Then, the king. 99% isopropyl alcohol. This stuff is the best, cheapest material you could use for getting the bongs clean. So you'll just want to pour out an ounce of that. into the bong. And then our scrubbing agent, miraculously, salt. This is the good stuff. You're seeing it in French. We're just going to add about a ½ ounce of salt. You don't want to add so much salt that it soaks up all the alcohol. So now you got them both in there, and you start to shake. Shake, 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 shake. And already you can tell this piece is looking much cleaner. I mean, this will probably do the job. Make sure that you get all angles. Now, you can actually stick a cloth in here if you want to try to plug the holes up. I'm pretty experienced at it, so I don't really feel the need, but that's up to you. So I'm just going to dump this guy out. And then we'll rinse it. So, little pro tip for you. Always do your rinse with distilled water, if you can. Distilled water doesn't have any minerals in it, so it won't leave any hard water stains on your piece. Once you're done cleaning it. Oops. Get a little rinse. So a couple tips. Ideally, you're rinsing with warm water. It'll help keep everything cleaner. Awesome. And there you have it. Your bong is basically clean. Still a few specks in there, which, let's dry this guy off so you can see a little more closely. This bong is pretty much clean now. Not sure if the camera is going to pick up the little specks that are in there, but if you ever wanted to get your piece perfectly clean, make it look like new, you're ever thinking of selling it maybe, hit up Clean Piece Toronto. We do a really good job of cleaning your bong up and making it look brand new. We'll remove any stains that are in there, any tobacco stains, hard water stains. But yeah, that was a quick little video. Hope it helps. Under 5 minutes long, one shot. It's our first video, so please like and share. Subscribe to our pages at CleanPiece416. Visit our website, cleanpiece416.com. You can get a quote there. Get your bong cleaned up. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, let's not sugarcoat it. 2020 sucked, and we're really happy that you all joined us. We know this is nowhere close to seeing each other in the live flesh. This idea was put together by Jessica Nudo, Cannabis Wiki, the team at Alan Aldous. That goes to Harrison and Alana Armstrong, my lovely partner here, Farrell Miller. And all of you, honestly, thank you for joining. It's really, the whole idea was about hanging out with you. So thank you for tuning in. The Rogan's bit was, I thought, hilarious, but I'm a little bit biased, so that's fine. Dana, thank you. Your reading was amazing. Reefer Madness is absolutely insane, and you pointed out how ludicrous it was with your piece. hilariously titled Reefer Madness. So well done. Anthony, cannot wait to partner with you. We did purchase a bunch of bong cleanings. So after the show, part of the giveaway will be to nominate a friend who may not be able to clean their apparatus. This is where we can get medical patients, people with gross pieces. You know the type, because, hey, we all have a gross piece. I have one in the other room. So definitely make sure to check out Clean Piece if you're in the Toronto area. He does great work. He cleans a bong, as you saw, pretty simply in no time at all. Does take a little bit of a wrist action, so he's a pro. Now, don't forget, the silent auction is still up and running, so you can go donate at the auction website, which is galabid.com. We'll drop a link for you so that you can go check it out, make some final bids before the live segment. We want to say a congratulations to GP, who guessed correctly with the Truro Nitro can. You won yourself a beautiful Listening to Ecstasy. We still have 2 more books up for grabs. So without further ado, I'm going to give it over to Farrell Miller, who's going to run us through a dreidel session and explain how you are going to go in the comments to guess what dreidel side this is going to turn. So just to give you a quick update, if you're not Jewish at home, this is a dreidel.
I thought it was getting turned over to me, but he's going to explain it.
Oh, I'm mansplaining. I'll hand it over to you, Farrell.
Just explain it.
Okay. We got shin. We got het. We got gimel. And we have none. So none is the bad one.
That means you get none.
But in this game, it doesn't matter because you're going to guess which one it's going to land on. So starting from Gimel, which is the good one.
Gimme.
We're going to start from Gimel, which is the good one. And if you say Gimel, that's A. If you say Nun, that's
none.
B. If you say Shin, that's C. And if you say Het, you are going to say D. So basically A, B, C, D. We're going to spin it right now before I forget.
Guess what it's going to land on.
We're going to guess. So I'm not going to tell you what it lands on, but before the next time,
I'll show you.
we're going to show you.
Before my computer dies.
That is a Gimel.
That's a Gimel. It means gimme.
So if you participated and if you guessed A, then we
You guessed A. Did anybody
are
guess
going
A?
to be able to do this. So we're checking the comments.
Nobody guessed A.
Okay, Mel 6.
Wait, Mel 611.
Mel
guessed
611
A.
has
So you know
A.
what? She's gonna win.
Oh, no, wait. She did it after. We're getting a she did it after.
No,
Okay.
it's at 9:17. It's the
Know
same
what?
time. I think we're
Know
just.
what? Should we do it again?
Okay.
Let's
next
get a
one.
vote. Let's get a vote. Should we do it again? Now that we understand the rules.
I think we're just on a delay. She did
Okay,
it.
we're gonna try it one more
Let's
time.
spin another. Put your bid in. Let's do another spin.
We're gonna do one more spin, and I'm hiding it this time.
No, do it. Good. Okay. It's a hay.
Which gives you a few seconds to get your bid in. 'Cause
See,
you
I
probably
bet you he doesn't
don't
remember what was A, B, C, or D. That's why I
But
said
I
just use
do.
the actual word.
But I do. And I will show you to prove it.
Yeah, see, he is. Do you remember which one was A, B, C,
I
or D?
do. I do. But we're gonna wait. We're gonna give them a few seconds to get their bids in. So get all your answers in. A, B, C, or D. It's a 25% chance. All right, we're gonna go back to the. So the first correct answer is Shatterizer. Our friends over at Shatterizer said D. So I will show you one more time. Gimel, the good one, is A. Then we had Nun, which was B. Then we had Shin, which is C.
and then we had het, which was D. So correct me if I was wrong, but I believe it was D. So I believe it does go to our friends at Shatterizer. We do have, like I said, one more book and other prizes up for grabs. Go to the auction. Please participate. And we do have a couple more treats left for you before we break it out into the sesh group. I won't take up many more time.
Adios for now.
She's got a cute hat on. We'll see you.
Let's face it, events are meant to connect people, but virtual events tend to fall short because watching an event is one thing, but watching with friends is so much better. Mindsu lets you talk amongst yourselves, meet with the sponsors face to face, and make real connections. Just click on the networking tab below and discover what makes Mindsu different. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you'd like to host your own event, visit us at mindsu.ca.
We're not gonna hurt you.
No, no. Got some nice presents for you.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
Shoot!
What? 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 What happened?
Get that little...
Deck the halls with boughs of colas, fa la 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 la. Block and mute those Twitter trollers, fa la 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 la. Don we now our PPE, fa la 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 la. Get as lit as a Christmas tree, fa la 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 la. Merry Christmas, Cannabis fam.
Hey y'alls, Alex Krause here. Been forced to do something, so here we go. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy lit nights. But when you feel like the only one in quarantine without a Christmas tree, here's a list of Canna peeps who are Jewish, who toke like you and me. Seth, Rogan, and Chelsea Handler light the menorah. Solomon, Israel, and Dan Edelman both do the horror. Guess who eats together at Schwartz's Deli? Ryan Pinsky, Mike Elkin, and Jen Larry. Lisa Campbell is half Jewish. Farrell is half too. Put them together, that's a feisty fucking Jew. We don't need the eggnog or the Baileys and cream, but we will rip a bong and you're sure we'll lick it clean. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. Smoke your marijuana and celebrate Hanukkah. Dan Blazarian, not a Jew. But guess who wishes she was? Our good friend Ashley Chu. One could get so lucky as to light a roach up with Abby. Paul Lewin is also Jewish, not too shabby. Chad Finkelstein and Matt Maurer are also MOTs. Harrison Jordan and Alan Young are also lawyers. Who smokes more is a mystery. We don't want Dusty Mids or PM Bud Rot, 'cause you can spin a dreidel with Buzz Dankir and What's My Pot, both Russian Jewish. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Chronica. The Can Trust management team that didn't wanna you to see all their marijuana. Mika Unterman, Daniel Sachs, and Aaron Saltz are munching on some latkes. Don't forget Tammy Lillian, who knows what each terp does. So many Jews are in cannabis. Kareem Assad isn't, but to note her partner is. His name's Lee. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Chronica. It's time to celebrate Chronica. I hope you get some dank indica. So drink your limonene tonica and smoke your marijuana. Maybe eat a wanaka on this lonely, lovely, lonely, lonely Chronica. Happy Chronica.
Hello, everyone. Alana here. Just to start to close out the show. It's been a wonderful night, and it was a lot of fun putting this together. It was a bit of a whirlwind. It was a last-minute idea, but after the year that we've all had, we know that you've had, we think that we all deserve it. The cannabis community and those who support it. So thank you all for coming out and playing games with us.
Hey everybody, Alex here. I wanted to thank you all for coming. Thank you to the generous participants who donated their time, donated gifts. It means a lot to us. Lifeline Canada Foundation is a really important initiative that we feel really strongly about, and we know how hard 2020 has been on everybody, so we definitely feel the need to give back in some way. And definitely hope for a better 2021. We have a lot of plans to, do things like this in the future. Thank you to Cannabis Wiki for making this possible, and to our friend Jessica Nudo, who this wouldn't have happened without.
So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for joining. And if you enjoyed this event, and you would like to host something similar of your own in the near or not so distant future, which I guess kind of equates to being the same thing, but anyway, we'll just go with it. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to work together. This event came together because of collaboration, and you've seen the kind of magic that we can create, so feel free to reach out. We're always here to listen and always down to work together. Thanks so much, and happy holidays.
So from all of us, Alan Aldous, Farrell Miller, who's not on screen right now but should be, and Jessica Nudo, good night, happy holidays, and we love you.
Merci, bonsoir.